the lax, the jumps, the kicks. B-ball, hardball, softball sticks. The blood, the sweat, the art, the smart, the brains, the boss, the soul and heart. News and views, scores and scores. Legends, losers, rivals, myths. The balls, the victories, and the hits. Introducing college sports television. Never before have so many college sports been jammed into one network. College sports television, #1 in college sports.
The USCHO Game of the Week is the first ever national internet broadcast for women's college hockey. It is also individually funded. That's why the Game of the Week needs your support to maintain and expand its coverage. For more information on how to contribute, please call 212-933-0652 or send an email to uschobroadcast@yahoo.com. That's 212-933-0652 or uschobroadcast@yahoo.com. Drama last night on day one of the playoffs. The Colgate Raiders coming up with the dramatic first ever victory over the Princeton Tigers, 1-0 at the 7:55 mark of overtime. And it was senior Ashley Bradford who seems to be developing a knack for making her goals count the most, as she delivered Colgate its first ever victory over the Princeton Tigers. And tonight, these two teams will rematch in Game 2 of the ECAC Hockey League quarterfinals. For Colgate, a chance for another first in a season of firsts as they try to advance to the ECAC championships for the first time in their history. And Princeton tries to stay one step ahead of history for its current season against a team that they have had their way with for the most part, albeit in a close rivalry over the last 4 seasons. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to day 2 of the 2007 playoffs, but our first day on the air in the postseason. Brian Schultz, USCHO women's hockey guru, and editor David DeReamer. And Dave, the theme of day 1 and early on in day 2 thus far has been high drama. A lot of close games, a lot of fun games, and none more so than the one here last night. Colgate 1-0 over Princeton in overtime.
That's right. I mean, this is what the ECAC has been wanting for years, and it's really come to materialize over the last 2 or 3 years. Every single game of the playoffs so far has been really close, and even the RPI Dartmouth series, and for the first time, the number 1 versus number 1 in 8 series has been a real barn burner. I mean, that Dartmouth game today against RPI and Dartmouth were tied 1-1 until in the third period before Dartmouth finally pulled away, and no other league in the country can match that kind of excitement in the postseason right now. I mean, on average, the WCHE teams are certainly, on par or stronger than the ECAC teams, but certainly no team, no league has a stronger, more exciting postseason than the ECACHL right now.
So Colgate comes up with the first ever victory in its program's history against Princeton on the day when it counted the most. We've seen this rivalry a couple times. What do you think is going to be the key as these teams play yet again, third time in 2 weeks here tonight?
Oh, what's going to be the key? Well, I mean, just a matter of everyone paying attention to the little things, and 2 games in a row now, it's been decided. It's a 1-0 margin. I mean, when you have so much of a game coming down to just making one play, it's going to be something really simple that's going to decide it. And I don't think you need an expert analysis here. It's whatever team's going to work hardest. And I mean, at times Princeton outworked Colgate for the first couple periods of yesterday, and then Colgate really seemed to have the edge down the stretch. So just maintaining that momentum and carrying through.
So last Friday it was Princeton 1-0. Last night it was Colgate 1-0. And one piece of good carryover news, really great carryover news, was if you were with us last Friday, obviously you were privy to the injury to Mary Kate Oakley at the end of that game on Friday. Well, the great news is a lot of the measures we saw taken on the ice turned out to be precautionary. She was held overnight at a local medical facility, but she was back in the lineup yesterday. So that's why Steve Levy says they're tough. They're hockey players. Mary Kate Oakley not missing any duty despite taking a scary hit to the wall at the end of last Friday.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, whenever you see something like that happen, you just have to hope for the best, and you can't jump to any conclusions. And thankfully, she's back on the ice here, and both teams are fully as healthy as it could be during this game, just about.
Well, I talked to both coaches actually right before face-off tonight, and they're not looking for anything different. The first 3 games this year, 3-2 Princeton, 1-0 Princeton, 1-0 Colgate. Neither one of them is expecting anything beyond that here tonight. That being said, Dave, last year, Game 2 between these two teams turned out to be a shootout, 5-4 for Princeton to get to the ECAC Hockey League. So who knows what's going to happen tonight?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, that game came down to wire. Any team with its season on the line is, going to give everything they have. That game last year, I believe, Princeton was up 3 goals down the stretch, but then Colgate came storming back, tied it up in the third before it was, Sarah Bush who won it for Princeton, and, she's graduated, but, who can take the reins now in this season? We'll find out.
So another chapter in Princeton versus Colgate. For Colgate, an opportunity to advance to its first ever ECAC Hockey League semifinal. For Princeton, an opportunity to shake a little bit of a jinx in the 4-5 matchup of the ECAC quarterfinals. We'll get into that as the evening progresses. The teams are on the ice. The starting lineups are being introduced here at Hobey Baker Rink. So let's step aside for one more commercial break and then bring things back for the drop of the puck and the commencement of our playoff coverage in the 2006-2007 season. You're listening, as always, to the USCHO Game of the Week. We will be back in just a moment.
TV. No lockouts, just hockey.
Next weekend, the USCHO Game of the Week heads to Minneapolis, site of the 2007 WCHA Championships. Catch the first semifinal Saturday, March 3rd at 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Central. Then catch the second semifinal at 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central. And on Sunday, March 4th at 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Central, it's the 2007 WCHA Championship game. Don't miss a minute of the WCHA Championships on USCHO.com. Welcome to the 2007 playoffs on U.S. College Hockey Online. Playoff excitement is in the air here on day 2 of the 2007 postseason, and it was An historic night last night for the Colgate Raiders in what has been a season of first. You can check off a number of boxes. Took out Dartmouth early in the season, took out Harvard late in the season, and finally bagged the one that has eluded this senior class for Scott Wiley throughout the duration of their career. It took them 11 tries to beat the Princeton Tigers, but they finally got it done, and they did so in a big spot. Ashley Bradford, one of those seniors, coming up with the overtime game winner, 7:55 into the extra session. So Colgate one game away from the ECAC Hockey League semifinals, and Princeton looking to extend this series to a decisive third game here on home ice on Sunday afternoon. Brian Schultz, Dave DeReamer on hand at USCHO Game of the Week. And Dave, this is what we've been waiting for and building towards. It's been a great season for both of us and all of women's college hockey fans. Day one was great in the playoffs, and what are you looking for out of day two here at Hobey Baker Rink?
Well, I mean, as we've seen before, these teams turn to be much more evenly matched, and each team's had a shot on each end. Both know what's coming to them, and hopefully players will be a little bit looser on game two, and we'll see what happens.
Colgate coming in 16-14-2 overall. They finished the ECAC Hockey League season 14-7-1, 1 point behind the Princeton Tigers, 14-6-2. They are 16-11-3 overall, but Colgate has the 1-game-to-none lead as we are underway here in game two. Princeton in the home whites with the black helmets, black pants with orange lettering. Colgate in the sharp-looking road jerseys, black helmets, black pants with the maroon jerseys and black lettering as well. Brooke Wheeler and Kristen Young, who have been dueling with each other the past 2 weekends, are going to go at it again tonight in nets as Colgate moves through center ice in the first 30 seconds of play and banks it deep. Foot races on. It's Evan Minnick, the Colorado native, against Ontario native Laura Watt in her senior season, part of an excellent class of 07 for Jeff Campersol's Tigers. And it's Sam Hunt, the dynamic leading scorer for the Raiders, kicking it far side. Slung back to Hunt behind the net. Hunt moving to the far side, monitored by Dina McCumber. Hunt bottled up by McCumber and Oakley. Mary-Kate Oakley, as we mentioned, very good to see her back out there. Shot is blocked in the face-off circle. Loose puck bounds to the far side. Waving at it is Watt from her knees. Pushes it to the half wall, but not out. Hunt able to get a piece of it there. It rolls into the circle. Watt shields off an attacker. Bradford long enough for McCumber to get the clear up left wing. And a rolling puck through center with 1:07 gone in the first period is going to see the game's first penalty as a long-distance wild shot sails wide and is touched up in the corner by the Raiders, the first call of the evening. So these two teams have played, at least statistically, some fairly clean hockey over the past couple of weekends. We'll see a quick whistle here, 1:15 in, and so a key matchup of special teams.
Right, I think one of the key areas of success for Princeton, the last game we saw them a week ago, was on their power play, and teams have been even so far, but if one team takes more penalties than the other, that's going to change pretty quickly.
So, first power play of the evening for the Tigers, as Dave alluded to, was Melanie Wallace last Friday night of the game of the week, who authored the game's only goal on a first period power play strike. Last night, neither team able to come through on the man advantage. Colgate scoring at even strength, 7:55 in. A quick whistle for offside. So let's run down the Colgate lineup. Sam Hunt between Ashley Bradford and Katie Stewart, the top line. Carly McNaughton between Ellen Brown and Evan Minnick. Marissa Dombovi between Beth Rotenberg and Caroline. Ruth Fish and Nicole McDonald round out the forward rotation. Tara French and freshman Allie Adele paired on defense. Kate Wolgemuth, Marilyn Johnston. A blue line pairing, Kira Dosdall, Laura Jansen, and Jill Cater-Syker rounding out the blue line rotation. Brooke Wheeler, of course, the 5'10 senior out of Brussels, Ontario, between the pipes. Princeton up the right side. They have Deneen and Hessian manning the points on their power play. Looks like Salmon, Keedy, and Annie Greenwood up front, and a puck out of play, so a chance to go through the Tiger lineup on game two of the ECAC quarterfinals. Mary-Kate Oakley between Melanie Wallace and outstanding captain Kim Pierce, and Keedy, Greenwood, and Salmon, who are out there right now on the power play. Novak, Foster, and Ralph. Julie Flynn, Monica Brennan, Nicole Martinelli rounding out the forward rotation. On defense, it's Laura Watt and Dina McCumber, Stephanie Danino and Catherine Deneen, Kate Hessian and Maddie Endicott, and Kristen Young, the sophomore out of Calgary, who is in net as a long-distance blast off the stick of Kim Pierce on the power play, sails wide. 1:09 to go on the man advantage. Here's McCumber, wristing it into the face-off circle, where it's taken by Wallace and shoveled down low. Turning with it there is the crafty Oakley, trying to sling it in front. Now is denied by French and pushed to the corner boards. Oakley back on it there for the Tigers. Handing off to the 5'10 Pierce, who leaves back to Oakley in the corner. Oakley behind the net to Wallace. Wallace, who has come on strong in the second half of her freshman season, feeds Oakley. Oakley trying to fish it to the front. A thicket of Colgate sticks waiting for her there. And the puck batted up the wall, but not out. Held by Pierce in the high slot. Turns it toward a Wheeler, who guides it calmly to the back wall. With 35 seconds to go on this, the first Tiger power play of the evening. Rolling puck in front. Wheeler reaching for it. Loose on the doorstep. Looked to be a little bit out of position, but was able to reach back and get the cover.
Yeah, not a lot. Princeton tried to keep the puck down low most of that power play and tried to look for something there. It looked like Dina McCumber and Laura Watt were both looking a little antsy on the blue line, trying to make something happen. They seem to have a lot of success going back to them on the previous power plays last time I saw them. So we'll see what happens. See if they can maintain that.
Off the draw, here's Watt head on with the goal. Wrist shot, tip in front of Pline and deflected just wide by Allison Ralph. Far corner. McCumber kicks back out. Watt on the one-timer. Puck was on edge. Did not settle down for her. Didn't get a lot of that. And Colgate takes advantage to get the clearance. Goes all the way down. That's going to just about do it for the man advantage. Kristen Young stopping behind the net for Watt. Watt on the wrap far side of McCumber. Forecheck being applied by Evan Minnick. Minnick does a good job of keeping McCumber pinned in. Actually forced the turnover for a bad angle shot. And Kristen Young forced to make a cover. Back to 5 aside. 3:20 gone in the first.
Yeah, good penalty kill so far for Colgate there. They managed to win most of the faceoffs and took care of things down low whenever Princeton tried to punch it in.
Scott Wiley very pleased with his PK. Both coaches perhaps searching for more magic on the power play. Both teams about 14-15% on the season on the man advantage. Loose puck down low. Caroline near corner, monitored by Catherine Deneen. Trying to center back door. Puck is knocked down by the stick of Andy Greenwood for the Tigers, but not clear. Far side, here's Rotenberg to the front. Batted away by Deneen. Bouncing puck in the high slot, gathered by Greenwood. And the co-rookie of the year in the ECAC Hockey League a year ago skates up the right wing side. Greenwood depositing deep to the corner behind the net now. 2-on-2 scrap. Greenwood has lost her stick. Kicks at the puck feverishly as she tries to retrieve the lumber. And now it's Colgate moving up the near side, and a rink-wide pass gets them out of the zone. Trying to touch it on through. It's hacked deep, and the Raiders will go for a fresh set of lines as Deneen tracks it down low for the Tigers. The indirect pass up left wing finds Wallace, and Wallace chips it off the wall down the ice. Icing waved off here. Back to get it, Laura Jansen, who pulls up behind her own net as Kim Pierce sets up the forecheck. Jansen on the lob, trying to hit the flyer at center. The puck was played with a high stick by the Tigers en route, so we get another whistle.
Yeah, we mentioned things to look for today before. One thing I should say is look for the seniors to come up big. I mean, this is definitely the time of year where they know their season's on the line. This is their last postseason. We've definitely seen that in a lot of the other ECAC hockey games around the country the last 2 days with Kay Weatherston and Dartmouth, Julie Chu, Jennifer Cyphers today, and Harvard, for example.
Bouncing puck off the boards and into neutral ice and down. Pierce from long range blasted in on goal. Kick saved by Wheeler. Rolling puck still down low in the Colgate end and batted free as the action now moves to the far side. Lobbed on ahead through center. This evades a couple of sticks, so coming back to get it, Maddie Endicott for the Tigers. Now Colgate in the circle, trying to center it in front, loose on the doorstep, and a wrist shot by Minnick is denied by Young at point-blank range. Sneaky play out of nothing there for the Raider offense, but Young keeps the door closed. Down in the near corner now, Minnick trying to fish it free. Minnick up the wall, kick it out. Shot taken, deflected down by Kristen Young. Maddie Endicott on the far side, desperately trying to get the clear. Again, Colgate with the hold. Young paddles it to the near corner. Mary-Kate Oakley scampering after it along with Minnick. They get together hard along the glass. Wrapped around on the far side, and the chase is on again. This time it's Ellen Brown and Endicott. Up the wall, Allison Ralph. Ralph pushes back to Hessian behind the Princeton net. Hessian on the bank far side. And it's center ice taken over by the Raiders one more time. Things settling down in the middle of the ice surface right now as Colgate gets the dump in and the foot race is on. Here comes Caroline down low to apply pressure against Endicott, who lost an edge in the process. Ruth Fish giving chase against Foster in the near corner. And up the wall it goes to center. Colgate on the reversal, gets the dump down. And back to field at Laura Watt. So a patient series of events after the good chance from Minnick. Colgate trying to change that along the point here. Wrist shot by Tara French. That sails wide. Loose puck along the end line. Batted back to the low slot, but intercepted by Allison Ralph for the Tigers. Fans on the clearing attempt. Knocked down by French for a wrist shot, and Young will settle things down to get the cover. 13:29 to go in the first. Still no score.
Yeah, Princeton really started to get the puck out of its own end over the last 3 or 4 minutes. Colgate seems to, be forechecking too, hitting a couple people back every time Princeton got the puck, throw it out. Those Colgate defensemen doing a good job keeping the puck in the zone and keeping on attacking.
Off the draw, batted free up the wall. Greenwood standing by the linesman, digs it out. Leaves it for Keaty, and away goes Keaty on the left wing side, but offsides will stall the Tigers here. Still waiting for the game's first goal.
Yeah, Princeton finally didn't puck out of its own zone there, but yeah, a little too eager there perhaps.
So we get the draw back in neutral ice as Keaty wins it back to Greenwood. Greenwood pushes it over the Raider line just as quickly. Back come the Raiders through center. Dosdell knocked off her skates. We play on. Sam Hunt fishing for it along the Tiger blue line now, but it's wrapped free to Dina McCumber. And McCumber gains center ice and backhands it over the Raider line. 7 minutes gone in a scoreless first period. Game 2 of the ECAC quarterfinals. Colgate having taken game 1 1-0 in overtime. The program's first win against Princeton as another offside as things have gotten fairly halting here. And we'll get another reset.
Yeah, the first last week when we saw Colgate play at Princeton, Colgate did a really good job moving through the neutral zone. Princeton seemed to slow that down a lot as the game went along. So far, not much going on there so far for Colgate. They've generated most of their attack off the forecheck so far.
Princeton, in the 2 games that we've seen, has been very cognizant of the flyer for the Raiders. But talking to Jeff Campersall, he felt that even though they controlled shots early on in last night's game, the chances they gave up at the other end, in his estimation, were of too high quality. A number of odd mans and a couple of breakaways as well, as Mary Kate Oakley leads Pierce up the left wing side. Pierce trying to power her way around the corner. Pierce centers it back in front. On the doorstep is Wallace, and it's batted just wide. And as it rolls back in front, Wheeler will snatch it and hold on.
Wallace had been the hot player for Princeton the last 2 weeks of the regular season, leading them both against the tough Clarkson St. Lawrence pairing, and then the game winner against Colgate a week ago too.
So the face-off to the right of Brooke Wheeler. Anytime Kim Pierce is out there, seems to make things happen. And here's Wallace behind the net with help from Oakley. Oakley, though, losing on the stick check, and the Raiders looking for the clear. Wallace intercepts but one step behind the blue line as she tried to move back in. Yet another whistle, about our 5th or 6th stoppage in the last 90 seconds. 12 minutes on the clock in the first.
Yeah, Kim Pierce, certainly one of the seniors I would expect to have a big game with her career on the line. 4 postseasons in her career. 2 of them so far have ended in this 4-5 ECAC matchup. So I'm sure she would not like to see a third.
Well, we talked about Colgate maybe exercising some of the Princeton demons with the win last night. Statistical oddity that you pointed out to me last week, which was every time Princeton has been involved in this 4-5 series, they have struggled. In fact, they've yet to win a game when they've been involved in the 4-5 series. They've done a lot better when they've been second or third.
Yeah, that's what you'd expect for a team that's favored second or third. But yeah, 4-5 usually expect to be pretty much even odds, but not so far for Princeton in the last 5 years.
So I guess they would be due by those calculations as Andy Greenwood blasts away from long range, and a Wheeler will hold on for the draw. But actually, that shot is going to be ruled to have come off sides as Greenwood was straddling the blue line when she let fly. So face off in neutral ice, 11:18 to go in the first period. You talked about some of the efforts around the country, and that's been the other thing that jumped out to me. Close games, but big-time performances. Katie Weatherston with 4 goals last night, and they needed every one of them to stop Whitney Naslin's hat trick from RPI. And then you referenced Julie Chu today, who, after Yale had tied the game at 1, scored 29 seconds later with about 2:07 left in the third to send Harvard through to the ECAC championships. And how about St. Lawrence down 2-1 in the final 2 minutes of last night's game, getting 2 goals to win in regulation. Chelsea Grills and Crystal Connors rescuing the St. Lawrence cause in that one.
Yeah, certainly been an exciting time in the ECAC playoffs.
Down low, here comes a wrist shot from an angle, loose on the doorstep. Heavy traffic as Foster was batting at it, but couldn't bring the stick to bear. The bouncing puck to the point, held by Laura Watt for a drive that sails wide. Coming up on the midway point of the first period, in game 2 of the quarterfinals, still no score between Princeton and Colgate, and that should come as no surprise. These 2 teams have played 127 minutes of hockey prior to tonight's game and produced 2 goals in the last 2 weeks. Each team coming up with a 1-0 victory. As McCumber holds for a wrist shot, bouncing puck with a Wallace skating by, went just wide. Wheeler might have gotten a piece as well. And here's Minnick now trying to clear, using the outlet on the far side. Reaching for it as they contest deep in the corner. Minnick comes to help out, as does Kate Hessian. and it's Hessian who digs it free. Ellen Brown is there as well, trying to get her stick free of Endicott. And Oakley sends Pierce on her way up the right wing side. Through the stick of the Tiger captain, and down the rest of the way. We'll get the icing call. 9:45 to go in the first.
Yeah, Princeton's still 10 minutes into this game, not having a lot of success breaking out the puck.
So the faceoff back to the right of Kristen Young. Only had the one penalty, and it came very early on against the Raiders. As Oakley wins the draw cleanly, back to Hessian. Talking to Coach Wiley before the game, he thought faceoffs was actually an underrated part of last night's effort. Thought they did a much better job in the circle than they had the week before. And that contributed to the cause as Wallace can't clear on the far side for the Tigers. In the high slot, the drop pass from Hunt and a batting puck off the stick of Ashley Bradford sails wide. Far side now. Colgate trying to establish some offense. French with a good wrist shot as McNaughton was cruising through the crease. Young fought that one off. And again, the 2-on-2 scrap in the far corner. Rotenberg, McNaughton. Looks like Oakley and Endicott. And they combine to seal things up, and we'll get another stoppage. And maybe that's what Jeff Campersall can live with. Talking to him before the game, Dave, he kind of felt like they had to make things a little more ugly than they've been the last two games.
More ugly in terms of...
just style of play, maybe kind of slow down tempo, trying to prevent Colgate from getting some of the stretch the ice and transition type offense that they want to get. We've seen a lot of whistles in the first 11 minutes as Catherine Deneen leaves behind the net. Pressure applied by Dombovi against Stephanie Danino. Danino hits Keaty through center. Dispossessed, though, and here's Dombovi on the turnabout, sliding it over the Tiger line. The chase is on as Caroline is one step behind Danino. Danino splits two as she slingshots around her own net. Danino still carrying the puck as she beats the second level, gains center ice, and a good carry and rush from Stephanie Danino. Now trying to go for the wrist shot, and that was tipped by a Colgate defenseman out of play.
Yeah, Princeton certainly didn't have the puck, so it really took a big individual effort to finally make something happen there. Yeah, in terms of whether Princeton will have more success playing ugly, yeah, I think they have, some pretty good offensive skilled players. I think, yeah, with their strength in the power play, and I think they should be in good shape if, they make things happen with whatever little chances they have.
Loose puck, Greenwood on the chase against Sam Hunt deep in the Colgate zone. Turnover, walking in front, Salmon, and she tucks it just wide as Greenwood was able to push it free to a cutting Brittany Salmon, but Salmon couldn't put it home. Now back in front it comes, and Greenwood bats it wide again. So good effort from Keaty, Salmon, and Greenwood here as Salmon hands off to a pinching McCumber, but she overskates. And now a chance for Colgate in transition as they will move through center. On the right wing side, a wrister snapped wide off the stick of freshman Katie Stewart. Stewart continuing her pursuit, but she's headed off on a change. Watt, though, runs into trouble in the form of Bradford. In front, Tara French walks it toward the goal. She drew a penalty, and French did not get all the shot because she was hooked from behind, and that will send Colgate to its first power play, 7:58 to go in a scoreless first period.
Things finally starting to open up here as we, break down the 8-minute mark of the period. Both teams having opportunities on each end. Yeah, Princeton doing a good job forcing turnovers, making things happen, and I mean they're the kind of team that usually can cash in on those opportunities. Colgate hasn't shown too much of a killer instinct around the net, but Tara French is certainly the kind of player who has that ability.
Off the draw, big drive through traffic, pinballing puck is between the circles, gathered by Catherine Deneen. She has the outlet up left wing, and Allison Ralph pushes it deep to the Colgate end. Now looks for maybe some shorthanded offense. Now just peels to the corner to try to kill off some time. And the Raiders finally take it off her blade. They'll move back with 1:40 to go on the penalty, which went to Dina McCumber. Nice pass on the right wing side. Lean catches up to it in the corner, wrapping it behind the net to Ashley Bradford. Bradford, the hero last night, feeds Tara French, senior captain at the point. French spun around by Christine Foster as the Tigers extend the zone, and Kate Hessian bats the puck down the ice. Colgate right back to the attack. Ellen Brown chasing after it down low, and she will get to it. Bodied up by Catherine Deneen, as she kicks it toward the front. Loops between the circles, batted away, and here's Allison Ralph again, spying a lane up left wing as she clears it all the way down. 1:05 to go on the penalty to McCumber. 7 to go in the first. Colgate and Princeton still scoreless in Game 2 of this quarterfinal matchup. The left wing side, the bank pass goes all the way down. Brown chasing after it along with Laura Watt. Pierce reaching for it, as is Tara French. Here comes Katie Stewart to help out. Stewart has the outlet and Dazzle up top. Wrist shot deflected off the legs of Pearson wide. Katie Stewart on the carom just outside the circle. Feeds Dazzle right back to Stewart. Stewart with a drive. Kick save. Kristen Young, who saw all the way. Kim Pierce hammers it around the wall. Stewart knocks it down on the backhand. Slides to Dosdell. Sends on through to Sam Hunt. Hunt with a wrist shot. That was partially blocked. Down behind the net. Gathered by Ellen Brown. In front, here's French. Turning, firing. Young makes the save. It's loose by her right leg, but the referee lost sight of it. And Jim McKenna blows the play dead.
Yeah, Colgate had a chance there, but unfortunately the puck went behind a wall of about 3 players there and causing the whistle to get blown. Colgate doing a pretty good job moving the puck there, but Princeton also doing a good job keeping focused and not letting any easy opportunities go through.
6:19 on the first period clock. 21 seconds before Dina McCumber escapes the penalty box. Caroline and Christine Foster on the draw, controlled by the Raiders. Here's Allie Adele spinning with it outside the near ring. Kicked up top, Mallory Johnson on the swing, trying to go back door. Good concept as Marissa Dombovi was loose cutting along the end line, but couldn't catch up to the pass. Princeton gets the clear, and we're back to 5 aside, so both teams 0 for 1 on the power play as Johnston picks up behind her own net. Mallory Johnston firing it high off the glass to Lean at center. Lean on the handoff, and that's broken up by the Tigers. Here comes Allison Ralph at the right wing side. Has Sonia Novak cutting. Ralph in the face-off circle. Wrist shot. Puck is loose back door, but only Raiders there to retrieve. Johnston bats it off the wall, and Colgate gets the clear. As the sailing puck goes all the way down, this is going to be an icing on Colgate.
And Colgate had a really good idea there at the very end of that power play. Almost managed to string in 3 passes together to put a good opportunity on that. You know, to score a power play goal against a good team like Princeton, you really have to be able to string together 3 passes, lightning quick like that.
Mary-Kate Oakley wins another faceoff. Pierce with a quick wrist shot. Kick save is made. In walks Oakley all alone to the front. She scores! Mary-Kate Oakley able to rebound the Kim Pierce offering, and Princeton has its first goal of the playoff series. Tigers up 1-0.
Yeah, I said before, it's just going to come down to a few little things and, some people working harder, and Mary Oakley was the first to react to that and the first to get to that puck off the rebound that Brooke Wheeler just left right in front. And, she had a pretty easy opportunity there because she was able to just walk right in.
So Oakley wins the draw, and that touched off the sequence. Kim Pierce with the blast. Oakley able to slip in unmarked on the follow and went 5-hole. So a triumphant return for Mary-Kate Oakley after the scary hit that she suffered at the end of last Friday's game. Picks up her 14th of the season from Pierce. Not 14 minutes into the first period. And Princeton has a 1-0 lead in its first game and its first goal of the postseason. And, of course, the last 2 times these teams have met, 1-0 has stood up all the way. So we'll see if history repeats or whether Colgate can join the battle offensively.
Yeah, Colgate not having a whole lot of success in the last couple of weeks scoring goals, even aside from the game against Quinnipiac. And even looking at yesterday, they went a whole 60 minutes without regulation. That's 4 straight games against the team under consideration type opponents where they haven't been able to score a goal in regulation. Not a great streak.
Annie Greenwood carrying through center, left wing side. Keedy back to Greenwood in front, wrist shot, save, rebound. Wheeler got that one as well. So good stuff from Salmon, Keedy, and Greenwood tonight as they craft a 3-man scoring opportunity, but Wheeler makes 2 fine stops, still 1-0.
Yeah, Princeton really pouring it on here, and they've definitely had the better run of play in terms of starting strong each of the last 2 times they played Colgate.
Off the draw, here comes Salmon again. Salmon to the front, wrist shot, and Wheeler a fine shoulder save as Salmon slipped free. Greenwood now in the circle, buzzing again. Greenwood trying to slip it to Salmon down low. Her stick was lifted. Salmon does get to it in the corner. Here's Keedy now. Sandwiched by a couple of Colgate defenders. Sam Hunt is playing down low for the moment. Greenwood, though, still has possession as she moves to the far side. Dispossessed, supported, though, by Salmon. Rolling puck to the blue line, held by Deneen with Fan on it. And through center come the Raiders. Powering to goal. Katie Stewart lost her edge as she angled it wide. Far side now, Bradford gets it to Stewart behind the net. Stewart trying to shift away against Deneen, who bodies her off the puck, but now it's Bradford slamming on the brakes behind the cage. She's now canceled to the glass, and we've got a call here for interference. And I believe that one's going to go to the Tigers as well. So after a good rush by the Salmon, Keedy, Greenwood line, back the other way comes the top line for the Raiders, and they draw an infraction on Catherine Deneen. Second power play for Colgate coming up.
Yeah, Colgate showed some good things in the last power play, and if they want to break out of the scoring slump that they've had for the most part, this is about as good as opportunity they'll get.
So the draw to the left of Kristen Young, but the Tigers win it cleanly. And it's cleared out to center. Here comes Allison Ralph, one-on-one, short-handed over the Colgate line. Ralph sweeping wide on the right wing side. Ralph bumped to the ice from behind. And the loose puck to the corner of the Colgate end with 1:40 to go on the power play. 3:45 to go in the first. Up through center it comes. Colgate pushes it over the line. Oh, Princeton makes a mistake there as they took Caroline to the ice in open ice. And a second penalty is going to come out against the Tigers. So a lapse in discipline will have Colgate 5-on-3 for 1:30 seconds. Laura Watt, the guilty party.
Yeah, obviously not a smart player there by Laura Watt, especially, senior captain with your season on the line. When you have a 1-0 lead, giving up a 5-on-3 opportunity. And, there's no reason to make that play whatsoever. The putt was, not dangerous whatsoever.
So a smart player makes a not-so-smart play as Laura Watt guilty of tripping. And it's 5-on-3 for 1.5 minutes. Colgate set up in the offensive zone. Down low, Katie Stewart. Now to Dosdell on the swing. Sam Hunt, side of the goal, trying to stuff it in front. They score! Katie Stewart bangs it home out of midair, and we're tied at 1 apiece.
Yeah, great passing there by Colgate, making things happen. Certainly Sam Hunt's always going to draw a lot of attention. And, great job there putting a midair puck in the net.
A home run for Katie Stewart as Sam Hunt trying to jam it in from a bad angle. Kristen Young got a piece of it. The puck popping off the goaltender's shoulder was fluttering in midair, and Stewart stepping up to the tee with a windup, blasted into the back of the net from about 2 feet away. And so for Katie Stewart, the talented freshman out of Exeter, Ontario, that's goal number 17 for her on the season. It comes on the 5-on-3. And Colgate still has 1:45 to work with on the 5-on-4, but Catherine Deneen, sends it the distance off the ensuing draw. So for the first time in 3 games, both teams on the score sheet, and they do so in the first 20 minutes. Oakley for the Tigers, and now Stewart for the Raiders. Dina McCumber down low, double team quickly, as Colgate still has that man advantage, but we've got another penalty here for holding the stick. Now, I believe this one might go the way of Colgate, as it looks like Allie Adele is headed toward the penalty box area. So some penalties mounting here. We'll see 4-on-4 for the first time for 1:20.
Yeah, it's really not surprised to see 2 goals in this first period. When you get into the second game of the series, both teams are getting used to each other, probably a little bit less tight after starting the weekend and into the better flow of things, both able to convert their opportunities so far.
So in neutral ice, the draw comes. It's one back to Dosdell for the Raiders, but now taken by Salmon, and she'll hack it all the way down. Remember, it is 4-on-4. Keaty bumped off the puck. Salmon comes in to help out. It's wrapped around to the near corner of the Raider defensive zone. So Mary-Kate Oakley has a goal for the Tigers, her 14th, and Katie Stewart has her 17th. And Stewart's making herself available in the neutral zone, but here comes Sam Hunt, the talented stick handler. Hunt trying to put moves on, lost on the poke check to McCumber. Dispossessed though, and here's Hunt again, leaving for Katie Stewart behind the cage. Stewart comes out the near side, feeding Dosdell for the wrist shot that deflects wide. Hunt giving chase along with McCumber on the far boards. Hunt has the size advantage. Down comes Tara French on the pinch. McCumber, though, doing a nice job of holding her ground. And she kicks it free to Catherine Deneen, who bumps it right back to Dina McCumber. McCumber, senior defenseman, bounces it on ahead. Handed off now to the speedy Liz Keaty. And Keaty on the left wing side. Lobs deep to the zone with 20 seconds before Laura Watt comes out and makes it an abridged power play for the Tigers. Through center. Loose puck rolls free to Stephanie Danino. Danino on the diagonal finds Kim Pierce. Pierce flops it into the zone, but lost her stick in the process, and French scoops it up, goal line extended for the Raiders. Tara French out of Nova Scotia and Deerfield Prep sends it on ahead. Kate Hesse intercepts at her blue line, and now the Tiger power play has commenced for 34 seconds. They will have the extra skater. 1.5 minutes to go in the period, and they're in the offensive zone. Danino throwing it toward the cage, but it's just as quickly batted down and cleared out. Kristen Young, a couple steps away from her crease to play it aside to Melanie Wallace. And Wallace will orchestrate from behind her own net. One final rush for the 5-on-4 for the Tigers. Here's Wallace through center, splitting 2 defenders. She was tripped up in open ice, and the Princeton staff wanted a call, but will not get it as the puck rolls back down to the Tiger end. Oakley leaves for Watt. Back to 5-a-side now. Diagonal pass picked off, and the Raiders are trapped offside. So as Wolgemuth reaches over the blue line, the whistle comes out. 56 seconds on the clock, tied at 1.
Certainly a little frustrating moment there for Princeton. Certainly struggling to transition through the neutral zone and to see Wallace go down like that. When they seem to finally be building a little bit of momentum, can't sit too well.
So off the draw, here's Deneen. Deneen cruising up the left wing side and sending on ahead, but this time the offsides infraction comes out against the Tigers. So 49 seconds separating us from the first intermission. You'll hear from Scott Wiley and Jeff Campersall between periods.
Yeah, definitely a big contrast from the game a week ago where there were very few whistles and a lot of flow early in the first period.
Dumped down by Colgate. And so it is Deneen for the Tigers. Deneen has allowed a lot of minutes in this first period, done a nice job. She winds it around, hard around the dasher and out. Sonia Novak in the neutral zone. Gets help from Christine Foster to get it just beyond the Colgate blue line. Quickly cleared out. 27 seconds left on the first period clock. Center ice, the puck is batted down. And this will be an icing as it came from the wrong side of the red line. So an offensive zone draw coming up for the Tigers.
You know, despite some of their struggles, Princeton has to feel good about some aspects of the way things have gone. You know, they still have, for the most part, been able to keep Colgate shut down. Just as long as they can stay out of the box, they should be in decent shape on the defensive end.
Off the draw, Keedy wins it back to the point. Watt on the swing, McCumber the drive, and it sails wide of the near post. Down low, it's Salmon. 12 seconds to go. Watt, big windup. Let's fly with traffic in front. That did not hit anyone and wound up in the corner. Colgate hacking at it, as are the Tigers. Keedy wins it free for the wrist shot. It bounces in on Wheeler, as it might have caught a piece of a Colgate defender. And Wheeler smothers it with 1 second on the first period clock.
And Princeton looking dangerous at times. They're managing to pass put around top and try to get something to work down low. Laura Watt a little bit off target at times there, but nearly had an opportunity at the end.
So Jeff Campersall pulls Christian Young for the sixth skater, and the horn sounds as the puck is dropped. So Mary Kate Oakley staked Princeton to a 1-0 lead. Katie Stewart scored on a 5-on-3 in response. After one period of play, it is Colgate 1 and Princeton 1 in Game 2 of the ECAC Hockey League quarterfinals. Any summary thoughts on those first 20 minutes?
Yeah, not a whole lot of flow from either side during that period. Neither team, both teams doing a good job kind of clogging up the zone, not letting the whole lot go through. But, each team's converted on whatever little opportunities they've had, and that's the difference so far.
So we'll take a quick commercial break. 1-1 after one. On the other side, you'll hear from Scott Wiley and Jeff Campersall, USCHO Game of the Week. We'll be back in just a moment. You are experiencing the 2007 playoffs on USCHO.com. Next weekend, the USCHO Game of the Week heads to Minneapolis, site of the 2007 WCHA Championships. Catch the first semifinal Saturday, March 3rd.
Played well. It was a very evenly matched game. You knew in those tight situations when we've played 2 one-goal games against them already this year that, it was going to be tight and the little things were going to matter. And, I thought in the first period we had some good chances. We had a couple of breakaways we didn't score on, a couple of 2-on-1s, some odd mans that we didn't capitalize on. But, I thought we defended really well. Obviously, we got some good goaltending, and I think that's the key. This has been a real, last Friday and this Friday have been a real goaltenders battle, which has been fun. It gives me some gray hairs, but it's been enjoyable to be part of.
Let's talk about those kind of 6 periods plus together. It seems, go back to last Friday, you came out of the gates very quickly, had controlled that game early. Then by the 3rd period, maybe they had sort of tilted the rink in their favor and then sort of saw a role reversal this past Friday. When you have control, when things are going right, what have been some of the keys to really kind of putting them on the defensive?
Yeah, well, I think the biggest thing for us is if we can, get our skating going, get the puck deep, put pressure on their D, which is what I thought we did a pretty good job with last night. Keeps the puck out of, some of their better players' hands moving forward. So I thought we did a good job of that. We were much better on face-offs. And I thought, for us, we were real good on penalty kill, which is an important component against a team like Princeton. So, if we can continue to do that, I think, we'll be all right.
One thing certainly noticed last Friday was they were very cognizant of the flyer that was coming into the neutral zone. Looked like they really had a defender that was sagged back at all times. So when that is effectively denied on the first pass, take me through some of the secondary and the tertiary looks and some of the alternate ways to get the puck from zone to zone.
Yeah, well, I think for us, when they do that, I think that was more of a matter of us not necessarily making good reads and good adjustments. I mean, we typically what you want to do on the stretch play is, the stretch play is just the first option, and then you have options of playing it long and then knocking it back to the middle, or what we call an underneath pass, which is basically long and then somebody coming off the weak side, and that's something that I thought we did a much better job with. We got, right off the bat last night, we got a breakaway out of it, long pass, kid did a good job keeping it, and then someone, zipped through the middle and got an opportunity there. So, they went away from that a little bit once we sort of defeated it a couple times, went back to more pressure, and, I think we just made some adjustments and our kids played better, defensively were better, and we handled the puck better, which is important when you're trying to skate well.
Yeah, you referenced the play of Brooke Wheeler. She certainly had a couple of very strong weekends back-to-back. Obviously, has done a lot throughout her career, so it's not new, but, maybe compared to the weeks prior to that, seems to have picked up her game a bit. What's been the key to sort of her reaching maybe a new level or getting back to sort of Brooke Wheeler A level?
Yeah, well, I think, for her it's a lot about confidence. I think in a situation, we got outshot a little bit last night, and I think that actually helps her. She likes to be active, involved. She's a big goaltender that stops a lot of pucks, and I think that's really the thing, just getting in the way of the first one, gaining some confidence, and then moving on. She's always been pretty steady, pretty consistent, pretty solid for us for 4 years. So, she's just rising to the occasion, and, she's one of the kids that really wants to make a difference out there.
You referenced the one half of special teams that's going very well, that being the PK. Let's talk about the other side, the power play. Certainly in the playoffs, that can be a valuable source of offense, especially in a series where goals seem to be at a premium. Any adjustments or tinkering you want to do on the power play to be a little more effective?
Yeah, I think, for us, we got to want to get the puck back a little bit more. We got, I want people to be out on the special teams, especially the power play, and want to make a difference out there and not pass the puck and let somebody else do the work. So we got to get our kids working to get a little bit better. We made a couple adjustments in our skate this morning that maybe will help. But the bottom line is the kids got to make the difference. They got to want to make the opportunities. We got to get shots on goal, and really just outwork them when you have the advantage.
Couple older players I want to highlight. One is Ashley Bradford, 2 goals on the season. You look at her 2 goals, one beats Harvard for the first time, and one beats Princeton in overtime for the first time last night. Tell me a little bit about her. She plays on the top line, but probably doesn't get the fanfare that the other 2 get.
Absolutely. I mean, if you look at that top line, she's real consistent. She works her tail off. She's usually the first person in the puck. She tries, gives us a lot of energy. Really good skating player, and she's had some ups and downs. She had an open net against Yale in overtime to win the game, which, she would love to have back, but, you look at it, and I think she would have traded that one for the 2 that she has so far. So, it's great to see your seniors step up, provide some leadership through their actions, and, it's not a better kid that deserves to have an opportunity like her, and it's just great for her.
The other one is Carly McNaughton. I had a chance to catch up with her this week. A unique story, a triumph of adversity story, and what she's gone through, and she's still third on the team in goals this year. From your perspective as a coach, I imagine it was sort of scary, sort of helpless, but rewind the clock and take me through sort of the process and the ordeal that she has gone through to become the captain of this team.
Well, yeah, I mean, when she first came here, she was a solid player, had some good skills. She worked a lot on her skating, got herself a little better fitness-wise. And then you went through one of those scares where you really don't want to go through. I mean, they talked a lot about, whether she was actually going to survive surgery, and that's pretty scary. Her dad and I had some real, tough conversations about cancer and a variety of things, and when you bring it to that level, sort of hockey takes a back seat. And, fortunately for everybody, she came through it well. She's going to have treatment and medicine the rest of her life, which is something she deals well with. But, she came back a little stronger, was able to play a little different game. She's much more consistent, in all 3 ends. Moved to the middle last year to play center, which has helped us. Real good penalty killer. Plays on her power play. She just does a lot of good things. She's usually out there against the other team's best line, which is a challenge in itself, but something she does a really good job at.
So game 2 tonight, an opportunity to achieve one of your preseason goals, which was to get through to the ECAC Hockey League Championships. Obviously, I imagine the complexion of this series is not going to change too much, but then I think about last year's game 2, where things really seemed to get wild by Princeton-Colgate standards, especially in that third period. So what are you expecting tonight?
I think it'll be similar. I think you're going to see a low-scoring game with good goaltending, and it's kind of going to be one of 2 things. Either the people that make the best of their opportunities, or it could come down to a mistake that costs a goal. The bottom line could come down to just a freak play and the puck goes in the net. But I think it'll be a low-scoring game. I think we're ready for anything. I'm sure Jeff's got his kids prepared. He's got a great program and a good team, and I'm looking for a great game.
My guest, Princeton head coach Jeff Campers. All Tigers coming up on the short end of a 1-0 overtime decision in Game 1 of the playoffs last night. And Coach, as with Colgate, always seems to be the same type of score at the end. This time, they finally were able to get the best of things. Certainly looked like you had chances early in that game. Take me through sort of the ups and downs of last night's 67 minutes.
I thought we, actually for 2 years, we've battled with them pretty well. Yesterday was the same as last Friday. Two good teams battling. They out-executed us at the end, no question. I thought the first 2 periods, we played well, but we outshot them, no question, but we gave up too many quality chances to them. So I think we only gave up 3 shots. I think they're all 3 mini breakaways, which was painful. So the shots weren't necessarily indicative of at least the first 2 periods, the closest in the game. So I think both teams went back and forth. No team really had control of the game. And then they just capitalized at the end, and we couldn't. So, but give credit to them. They played really well, and it was a good victory for them.
Looking at sort of the last 2 games combined, when you've gotten in some trouble, when you've given up some of those odd man opportunities, what are some of the things that the players need to be wary of?
Yeah, they need to be like on that goal yesterday. There was one Colgate kid by the net, and I think it was Hunt, and then there was 2 Colgate kids coming off the bench or coming off a change, and 4 of our kids, and we just weren't aware. It was just not a good play on our part. But just when we back check, pick up a man, and just the way that Colgate plays, they send a winger all the time. So it's just a different way to play hockey. It's wide open. A lot of the game is in the neutral zone. We don't spend a lot of time in our end, and we don't spend a lot of time in their end either. So it's just whoever catches who on transition. It kind of randomly reminds me of the Patriots Jets game when they were battling, trying to get 11, 12 guys on the field, and so that's basically what kind of game it is. And so hopefully we don't make as many mistakes and capitalize when we have a chance.
Let's talk about things at the offensive end. Obviously, this is a quality defensive club, but any adjustments you want to see to sort of generate more offense, get your skill players in position?
I think just capitalize on our odd man rushes. We had a 3-on-1, we didn't get a shot off. A couple 2-on-1s, we didn't get a shot off. So it's really we watched, analyzed a lot of tape, and there's really not much to change except to sort of execute and maybe shoot low. Their goalie's big and good, but I thought we made it easy on her by hitting her in the stomach a lot and trying to, if we shoot low, go for rebounds and make it ugly. I think that'll help us.
Matchup of specialty teams. You go back to last Friday. That was a difference for you. You 2 statistically are very close. Anything there that you see you can take advantage of?
Yeah, no, our power plays all year has been up and down. It's been frustrating because it's come along the last 6 games of the regular season, and then last night it was just average. We had trouble breaking the puck out, so 2 breakouts in a row, bad passes, and then that kind of gets the kids tired having to lug back and get the puck, and so it wasn't a good day for us on the power play. On the penalty kill, I thought we did a good job, but again, we have a good ref. Who doesn't, he does a really good job, and he kind of lets the kids play, doesn't call a lot of penalties, so there hasn't been a lot of specialty teams in our both games, but they're really dangerous with Sam Hunt, no question. The kid can really play. She can stick handle around in a telephone booth, so we obviously want to pay attention to her, but they also have other good players that we need to be aware of. And on ours, it's just getting the puck to the net. Colgate did a good job of getting the lanes and blocking a lot of our shots. And seemed to anticipate what we were going to do next, or what our plan of attack was. So hopefully we'll change it up a little bit to give them a new wrinkle, but there's not a ton that you can change. It's just sort of digging out loose pucks, supporting one another, and getting the puck to the net.
Scary moment at the end of last Friday's game. Mary Kate Oakley obviously shaken up badly and helped off on a stretcher, but back in the lineup last night. Just give us an update on her status and how she's doing.
She's sore, but she's toughing it out, and she played yesterday. She wasn't her best, but hopefully today she can rebound, even having a whole day off here, or even rebound more. But we count on her to make a lot of plays. She is our playmaker, and so in order for us to score goals, we count on a few kids to get it done, and so she's definitely one of those kids we need to come up big tonight.
So if you had to encapsulate Game 2, sort of top 2 or 3 things you're going to stress right before the game starts, what are those going to be?
For us, just starting fast, trying to jump on them early, and that's always how we try to play every period like it's 0-0 and win each period. But we want a fast start. We want to be crisp and execute, catching passes. And like I said, getting shots on net, but getting quality shots in grade A area, rather than shots from the outside, or trying to be too pretty and make a perfect play. Just simplify things and grind it out and make it a little bit uglier than prettier, I guess.
Thoughts of Scott Wiley and Jeff Campersall. Both teams with a goal after one period of play on the USCHO Game of the Week. Brian Schultz and David DeReamer on hand at Hobie Baker Rink, recapping the scoring in that first period. So the top two scorers for each team are all on the score sheet thus far. It was Mary Kate Oakley, who we talked about being shaken up last Friday. Well, she came back in a big-time way in the first period, picking up her 14th goal, rebounding a Kim Pierce shot at 14:23. Oakley her 14th from Pierce at 14:23. But then it was Colgate, the recipient of a 5-on-3 power play, that was able to equalize at the 16:35 mark. And it was Katie Stewart getting the goal for Stewart, her 17th from Sam Hunt at 16:35. Princeton had the shots on goal advantage 15-9 in that first period. Colgate 1 for 3 on the power play. Tigers 0 for 2. Princeton, nice edge on faceoffs, 18-12. And so, David DeReamer, as we've seen between these two teams, everything seems to be pretty even. Princeton, again, out of the gates quickly with the shots on goal advantage, but kind of felt like both teams had their looks in that first period.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, both coaches had, listening to them talk during the intermission, both of them have done some of the things that they wanted to do, that they talked about. Colgate's certainly done a decent job of putting some pressure on Princeton's D and keeping the puck in their end. And, we talked all we want about, some of the mistakes that led to that 5-on-3, but, I mean, if, Colgate's not attacking and keeping the puck there, then, Princeton's not taking the penalties there. And on the other hand, Princeton certainly hasn't allowed Colgate to have much in the way of odd man rushes and things like that, though a lot of that's because they're not getting out of their own end as much.
So, second period will start. Teams will change ends. Princeton will approach the end and attack the end just below us. Colgate to the far end will be the Oakley-Pierce-Wallace combination opposite Minnick, McNaughton, and Brown to start. Tied at 1 apiece. And mentioned in other ECAC Hockey League action earlier today, Dartmouth is through. They will now host the ECAC Hockey League Championships in Hanover, New Hampshire. It's going to be a busy weekend, incidentally, with, I believe, the Dartmouth men's team has clinched the home ice berth that weekend as well. So that will be a busy affair up in Hanover. Actually, no, they've clinched the bye. Sorry, so they won't be playing. The busy weekend could be the week after for the NCAA quarterfinals. But Dartmouth will host. Harvard is also through the 3 seed. St. Lawrence, 0-0 with Clarkson at the end of one period of play. That has been an excellent series thus far. The Saints winning game 1 in the waning moments last night. And you've got this series, 1-0 in overtime last night and 1-1 after 1 here today. Out west, the 4-5 matchup, also a 1-0 game yesterday. Amber Bowman's goal for Ohio State. The difference is they beat Minnesota State. Minnesota Duluth getting a scare from St. Cloud, who tried to rally from a 4-1 deficit. Duluth winning that one 4-3. Minnesota, at least for one day, putting aside some of the troubles that have plagued them in the second half, coming up with a 5-1 win against Bemidji State. And defending national champion Wisconsin comfortably over North Dakota 4-0. In other results in regular season action, Mercyhurst, top-ranked team in the country, actually tying Niagara 3-3 today after a hard-fought 2-1 victory last night as Colgate in the early stages of the second period trying to create some offense. Rolling puck up the far side, gathered by Ellen Brown. Turning shot is blocked by Dina McCumber in the circle, and she feeds Kim Pierce, who pivots and hands on ahead to Mary Kate Oakley. Oakley on right wing gains the line. Shouldered off, and she tried to skate around Wolgamuth. Good stay-at-home work from Kate Wolgamuth. And back at center ice, Colgate's looking to reset and attack. Here's Katie Stewart in the high slot. The drop pass. Hunt with a wrist shot. Young makes the save. Left a little bit of a rebound and covers up as the net is taken off its moorings.
Good attack there by Colgate early on so far. So, yeah, with that Mercyhurst Niagara score, a bit of surprise, I'd say. Mercyhurst certainly has dominated that lead for the last several years, but I think teams like Niagara and Wayne State have certainly been sick of seeing Mercyhurst on top. Margot Page saying their little paper the other day, I don't want just to be a team that can stay with Mercyhurst. I want to be a team. It means nothing if we can actually beat them, and at least made one step in that direction so far.
Adds a little bit of intrigue to tournament seeding, if nothing else. Mercyhurst has been rolling along so nicely for such a long time. In the second half of the season, the tie with Connecticut is the only blemish, the only point they've conceded. So now they've conceded a second one to Niagara, and a good series with the Purple Eagles. Maybe sets up some drama for that CHA championship as Mercyhurst trying to stay ahead of Wisconsin for the top overall seed in the NCAA tournament this year. Turnover here to the Colgate Raiders, but just as quickly turned it back over. And here comes Annie Greenwood, 3-on-3 through center, leading the charge. Greenwood on right wing, losing on the poke check to Mallory Johnston. Thrown to the front of the Colgate net, but taken by Laura Jansen. Jansen can't clear. Wrist shot by Endicott. Deflection and a nice glove adjustment by Brooke Wheeler to make the catch.
It's really one of the most dangerous opportunities that we've seen from Princeton so far today. Just, cycling the puck well down low there, and then, anytime you get that deflection on there that close, it was a great play by Wheeler there. Speaking of Mercy Hurst, I think one of the first times I really noticed Brooke Wheeler is when she had I think it was a 43-save shutout against Mercy Hurst 2 seasons ago. I was pretty big surprised back then, and she's done nothing but stay consistent since then.
She's been strong in the recent weeks, shutting out Clarkson, and a 3-3 tie against St. Lawrence, and of course the 1-0 defeat to Princeton. Nothing to be ashamed of. And then comes up with a 1-0 win against the same Tiger squad last night, and it's 1-1 here. 2:10 gone in the second period of the ECAC Hockey League quarterfinals. Puck in the neutral zone. Allison Ralph cautiously over the line. Nice pass, though, to Christine Foster. Wrist shot, kick save Wheeler. Puck rolls back up the slot, but fielded by Wolgemuth for the Raiders, and she'll scamper up the left wing side. Number 8 in the maroon jersey threads it over the Tiger line. Couple bodies go down as Laura Watt leaves it up the wall to Foster, who chips on ahead to Ralph, and Ralph is headed off just along the blue line by the long reach of Sam Hunt. Hunt with a couple of stick handles is tripped up along the blue stripe. Back the other way come the Tigers. Laura Watt leading the charge. Watt between a couple of defenders did not get all that shot. It was partially blocked by the stick of Wolgemuth, and it flutters on into the chest protector of Brooke Wheeler.
Yeah, Colgate can't be too thrilled with the way this period started. Princeton's had a pretty decent flow going through the zone, and worse yet, Colgate hasn't been able to silence Princeton in their offensive end and give a chance in the slot not too long ago.
Off the draw, the swing comes to Watt. Her wrist shot blocked by Katie Stewart. Kim Pierce down in the near corner, spinning away from Wolgemuth. Oakley and Hunt contesting for it. Here comes Pierce off the wall, rolls off her stick. Loose puck batted by Wallace, did not go through traffic in front. Down low, Oakley and Pierce and Wallace all at close quarters against a couple of Colgate defenders. Now here's Sam Hunt trying to win it away. Losing it, though, to Wallace in the slot. Wrist shot with Pierce in front, reaching for the deflection, and it went wide. Loose puck down low once again. 2-on-2 scrap far side. French against Pierce. Pierce wins it for the moment. Centering pass denied, but right to Mary-Kate Oakley. Oakley trying to hand it off to Pierce, broken up by Hunt. Hunt loses on the stick check to Pierce one more time, and Pierce leaves back to the corner to Oakley. 3.5 gone in the second. Still 1-1. Far side, it's Bradford down to French. French's clearance is denied, but Hunt is able to force it just beyond the blue line. And as the Tigers fire back in, the call made for offside.
Yeah, Princeton's top line there doing a great job of just creating havoc for the Colgate defensemen. They really struggled to get the puck away from that top line, and whenever someone got the puck, they were throwing it out into the slot, creating some deflections in front. If they can keep that up, things will go right for them eventually.
So the faceoff will come in the neutral zone. Tigers win that one. Bounce puck off the wall, goes down. No icing here. Allie Adele has to scoop it up behind the net. Liz Keaty comes in to head her off. Action congested in that far corner. Keaty digs it free for the moment. Gets a pick from Brittany Salmon. Keaty up the far side wall, trying to establish a cycle. That's broken up by Marissa Dombovi. And Colgate has a chance to clear as Dombovi on the left wing side, a one-hands it forward. Taken by Annie Greenwood, who lofts it back to the red line. Knocked down on the center ice insignia by Mallory Johnson. A long drive in on Kristen Young, and it squirts off her pads and trickles just wide. Back the other way comes the Tigers. Greenwood tripped up in the neutral zone. Backed up, though, nicely by Danino. Danino has it roll off her stick right to Kira Dostal. Fleet-footed Dostal, though, couldn't start up. And it's Caroline who has to bank it off the wall and down the ice. Not far enough for an icing call as we come up on 5 gone by in the second. Mary-Kate Oakley and Katie Stewart have the goals for their respective teams. We're tied at 1. Evan Minnick along the blue line has Dostal as an outlet. Instead uses Jansen, and it's Laura Jansen on the head man trying to spring Ellen Brown. Tipped off her stick deep to the Tiger end. Brown on the centering pass in front. Minnick on the wrist shot, and Kristen Young with a pad save.
A great opportunity there by Colgate. Probably one of the best they've had at even strength this entire game. For the most part, Princeton had been having its way early in this period, but Colgate making a couple counterattacks and then being able to keep the puck their own end and working from behind the net to create an opportunity in front.
Off the draw, hacked around the wall by Endicott, and it escapes the Raiders at the point. So Tara French will have to glide back to play it. An outstanding two-way defenseman for the Colgate Raiders in her senior season. Gets help from Carly McNaughton, who you'll hear from in the second intermission. McNaughton floats it up right wing to Minnick, who banks it on through to Ellen Brown. Brown to the Tiger zone, leaves from Minnick in the corner. Minnick with good speed, sweeping behind the cage, has the puck roll on her a bit. Still with it, though, on the far side, and cycles down to McNaughton in the corner. McNaughton putting on the brakes, trying to evade Mary-Kate Oakley. Gets bottled up, though, by Endicott. Endicott promptly sandwiched to the glass. Pierce is there as well. And now it's fished free by Maddie Endicott. Right back to Kim Pierce. Pierce trying to settle it down through center. Here she comes with a full head of steam. Pierce between the circles. Gets behind the defense. On the backhand, Wheeler makes the stick save. On the blue line, Laura Watt holds it in. Here's Greenwood trying to dipsy doodle around Sam Hunt. Hunt takes it right off her stick, and as she moves back the other way, we got a penalty way behind the play. All I see is Mary-Kate Oakley, who's been deposited into the back of the net, and Ellen Brown will head off for 2 minutes.
I'm not sure what would happen there on the penalty, but yeah, I think you're seeing this game start to open up a little bit. Both teams having good opportunities to move through the zone, and like we said, the seniors stepping up. Kim Pierce definitely doing a great job, taking it all the way by herself, all the way from the red line, all the way into the net.
Mary-Kate Oakley has drawn 2 penalties tonight and scored the Tigers' only goal. And Princeton will dump it down on the man advantage. 13:55 to go in the second. Kira Dosdell hacking it around the far side. Sam Hunt trying to protect for it there. Floats it between the Tiger point players, but they could not clear the zone. Nice keep by Catherine Deneen. Dosdell will get another chance back behind her own net. Far side to Mallory Johnson. The clearance is blocked. Here comes Greenwood in front. Wrist shot. Pad save. Rebound is loose. And Wheeler clamps it in the nick of time with both Brittany Salmon and Liz Keedy on the doorstep.
Yeah, we've talked before about Annie Greenwood trying to get her scoring touch back. That was definitely a dangerous opportunity she had there, but things just haven't been falling for the season.
Greenwood with only 6 goals after the 25 a year ago. Had Salmon available that time down low. Elected to take the initial shot herself. Did induce a rebound, but Salmon could not skate onto it before Wheeler got the cover. And so the draw is to Wheeler's right with 1:30 to go on this Tiger power play. Here's Salmon between the circles. Deneen down low. Greenwood took a hack at a one-timer. It came up empty. Wolgemuth couldn't clear far side, and now behind the net, here's Keedy one more time. Keedy around to Salmon. Salmon protecting against Evan Minnick. Back down low to Keedy. Right back to Salmon outside the ring. Up top it goes. Hessian on the drive. That was blocked nicely by McNaughton down low. And it's Carly McNaughton on the backhand trying to clear up the near side wall. Minnick got a piece but couldn't get it out. Here's Salmon outside the ring again. Ladling down low to Keedy. Keedy's pass hit the side of the cage. Wrapped back up into the corner. Salmon canceled by McNaughton. 2 number 19s going head to head. Salmon leaves back for Keedy with 50 seconds to go on the Tiger man advantage. We're tied at 1. Andy Greenwood now trying to protect against Wolgemuth. Wolgemuth with the poke check to dispossess, and the foot race is on far side for the loose disc. Catherine Deneen gets there 1 step ahead of Carly McNaughton. Kick back out to Greenwood. Now back to Deneen. Deneen floats one toward the cage, knocked down by Tara French, who spins and clears all the way down. Wholesale changes for the Colgate PK. Partial change for the Tigers. Oakley, Wallace, and Pierce are out there now. And here comes Kim Pierce steaming up the left side. Pulls up. Now tries to protect against Katie Stewart. Maneuvers to the corner against Kira Dosdell. Pierce walking it to the far side to Wallace. Wallace swings it up top, Laura Watt. 10 seconds to go on the power play. Watt now to McCumber. McCumber inching down into the circle. Angled shot. Loose puck on the doorstep. Wheeler has control of it once again. I'll have a draw to her right with 3 seconds before Ellen Brown is out of the box.
Yeah, not a whole lot going on for Princeton in that power play so far. Just for the last few seconds there, just passing the puck around and taking a pretty low percentage shot at the end. Someone has to take some initiative sooner than that.
Sam Hunt against Oakley in the circle. And Dosdell pushes to the point, but not out. Held by McCumber. Here comes Brown. McCumber sidestepping along the blue line. Wrist shot through traffic. Goes wide. Ellen Brown on the far side. To the point and out. Sam Hunt is loose. Maybe a 2-on-1 if they hurry. But Hunt couldn't settle it down, and the Tigers get a chance to reset in their own end. Now here's Hunt back to the attack on right wing. Hunt maneuvering down low. Hunt trying to drag it through Dina McCumber. McCumber took it off her blade. Fired it high off the glass. Rolling puck to the circle. Turning shot by Hunt. Kicked out by Kristen Young. Down in the corner, Caroline. Leaning behind the Tiger net. Oakley trying to evade Hunt, who took her down from behind. No call. Now Hunt is taken down by Watt from behind. And still we skate 5-on-5. As Oakley finally fishes it out of the pile with 11:20 to go in the second period. And Oakley and Katie Stewart, the only goals on the board. It's a 1-1. But here's Oakley trying to play make in front. That pass denied by Wolgemuth. A nice job defensively tonight. At the far side, Caroline slips one check, threads it up right wing. Here's Rotenberg to the attack. Rotenberg in the circle. Her wrist shot blocked. The follow-up from an angle sails wide. A Colgate player goes hard into the back glass. Climbs back to her feet and into the play as we fight 2-on-2 for it behind the Princeton net. Finally, the puck is goosed free to the corner. Danino chasing after it. Sharp angle shot fought off by Young. The follow goes off the side of the net and right to the stick of Stephanie Danino. Danino looking for the headman. Nice lob pass to Oakley in space. Mary-Kate Oakley one-on-one with Laura Jansen. Oakley trying to create a shot for herself. Jansen blocked it with her skates. Oakley's headed off on a change after a long shift. French banks it off the far side of Rotenberg. Rotenberg finds Lean, and Lean is out to center, but no further. Taken back by Danino for the Tigers. And this is some of the good flow we saw much of last Friday's game as icing waved off again, and Jansen comes back to touch it below her own end line. French, though, couldn't handle the pass, lost her stick. Centering pass in front, redirected just wide by a cutting Allison Ralph. Novak trying to set up Ralph in front, but the tip just off the mark. Now here's Evan Minnick to the attack. Minnick with speed through center. Minnick is tripped up. There's going to be a penalty to the Tigers. The speed of Evan Minnick induces a hooking call from the home team, and so the Colgate cheering contingent nestled behind the bench on the near side comes to life as their team has a 5-on-4.
Yeah, as you mentioned before, great flow over the last couple minutes. Both teams having opportunities end to end, and it seemed like it only mattered time before someone was going to step in and slow things down. Neither team was doing the best job defensively, clogged things up beforehand, and didn't go in Princeton's favor that time.
So the Raiders, who have scored on a 5-on-3, will get an opportunity here to take their first lead of the night. As we mentioned, Princeton's season on the line for Colgate, a chance to realize another first in a season of first. Get through to the ECACHL Hockey League Championships for the first time in the program's history. They're going to have to get through a very tough Tiger squad on the road, as Princeton has control of the puck here shorthanded, so they're just content to kill off some time. And Dina McCumber gets the blade nicely under the puck and throws it all the way down the ice. Keaty will actually get the first touch. Good hustle by Keaty. An excellent penalty killer with her speed. And she's chasing after it again, this time on the near side, killing off some more time. Liz Keaty standing between a trio of Colgate attackers down on the Colgate end. As seconds come off the clock, now 1:12 to go on this Colgate power play. Good workmanlike effort from Lizzie Keaty. And now it's Allie Edel for the Raiders, who finally wrenches it free and feeds McNaughton. McNaughton to Stewart over the line. Nice move by Stewart. Equally good stay-at-home defense is just poked free and out of the zone. Here's Brittany Salmon shorthanded. She's disrupted by Tara French along the red line. And now Colgate will look to take a deep breath in the neutral zone with 50 seconds to go on their man advantage. French is onside as she tips it deep to the Tiger end. McCumber will get the first touch for the home team, one step ahead of Ellen Brown. Loose puck gathered by the Raiders, and now they are set up with 37 seconds to work with. Here's Dosdell. Hunt steps into a wrist shot up high. Did not go through. Loose puck rolls up the seam, gathered by Dosdell. Wrister looking for the tip. That did not go through. Went wide instead, and Kristen Young reaches away from her crease to cover the puck as it lay by the side of the net.
Finally, some good action there from Colgate on the power play for the last couple seconds there. Before that, during the intermission, Wiley talked about people stepping up, taking shots. Earlier in this power play, it looked like Colgate was struggling to even find someone willing to take the puck out of the neutral zone, but finally had some opportunities at the end.
French handling outside the ring far side. Steps into a quick release drive. Save is made. Puck is loose on the doorstep. Tigers get the first touch. French barreling after it. Her wrist shot stopped by Kristen Young with the leg. Good save by Young. Tigers get the clearance, and that's going to just about do it for Colgate's 5-on-4. 8 minutes to go in the second period. We are still tied at 1 apiece. Allison Ralph forechecking hard against Kira Dosdell. Good workmanlike effort by Ralph, trying to turn in center. That pass, though, denied. Neither of these teams giving up an inch here in the second period. Kira Dosdell, left wing side, caught an edge. The loose puck comes right back to the vicinity. Foster on the centering pass, but Pierce overskated and hammered her stick on the ice in frustration. Afterwards, as back the other way goes Marissa Dombovi. Dombovi with speed, the Tiger line. Her wrist shot parried away by Kristen Young. Dombovi leaving in the corner. Watt scales it off the glass to the red line. Knocked down there by Laura Jansen. Excuse me, that's Edel, 2-0-12. On the swing to Mallory Johnston. And now Ellen Brown tips it to the Tiger line. Another penalty coming up to Princeton. And I believe Minnick drew another one. And she was trying to step around a Princeton defender. Dave, that's about the third or fourth time we've seen a Colgate player trying to just swing wide around a Princeton defender. And the Tigers have made the contact each and every time and been called.
Yeah, Princeton certainly has to watch out for that. And, Colgate's power play has started to build up a little bit of momentum here, I think. Jeff Kampersov is the one who talked about, making things ugly on the power play. But I think at the very end, around the net. But, got the very end of the last power play, Colgate looked to create a little bit of chaos in front, and Tara French nearly put one through traffic, and they didn't create more opportunities like that, then can find themselves ahead here.
Off the draw, Dosdell settles it down along the blue line. Princeton trying to extend the zone. Dosdell on the quick swing, far side to Tara French. French contested for with Pierce along the half boards, and Pierce put a skate on top of it long enough to draw the whistle. 1:44 to go on the penalty, which went to Catherine Deneen. 7:03 left in the second, tied at 1 apiece.
Yeah, Princeton spending a lot of time this period now is trying to be spent on special teams here. We'll have to see how that develops.
Off the draw, nice win by Hunt. Back to French on the swing. Dosdell in the middle. Here's Hunt trying to go back door. That pass was denied. Good concept. They couldn't find the finishing touch. French skipping a pass now in the circle. Hunt trying to go back door to Katie Stewart. That was tipped away. French fans on her first pass attempt gets another chance, and will reset, head on with the goal. Her blast between the circles. Heavy traffic down there, and the Tigers finally get the touch as Brittany Salmon bangs it all the way down, and the chase is on. Keedy right behind Kira Dosdell. Dosdell far side to French with 1:10 to go on the man advantage. Ashley Bradford along the red stripe. Has it taken away from her, but it goes right to Dosdell one more time. She'll lob it in on Young, who easily guides it to the corner. Laura Watt turns it, hammers it up the wall and out. And we'll get a whistle here as the puck drifted back to center. And I think there might be a call, maybe for too many players on the ice. There were certainly a lot of players, and Colgate was in the midst of a change. They might get hit with a bench minor here as the ref skates over to the box. 57 seconds left on the Deneen penalty. 6:16 to go in the second period. And indeed, that will be the call, as Jill Cater-Syker will come over to serve the bench minor for too many men.
Yeah, we saw before Tara French making some nice plays there on the power play. She was named the ECAC Scholar Athlete of the, or one of the ECAC Scholar Athletes, which is no surprise to anyone who listened to the program last week.
It's definitely a pre-med major, going to be a doctor someday, and we marvel at anyone who is able to play a Division I sport and major in a lab science. But she has managed to pull it off, and now in her senior season, trying to help her team to the first ever appearance in the ECAC Hockey League Championships, but has to go through a game Princeton club in their barn, tied at 1. 5:48 to go in the second period. We're skating 4-on-4 for 25 seconds as Mallory Johnson tracks it in her own end. Mary-Kate Oakley harassing from behind. And the puck is dug free to Brittany Salmon on the far side. Salmon over the line. Salmon, Oakley, and McCumber, all products of the same Nichols School program in upstate New York. We talked about last week, we had Mary-Kate on the program, and here they come. Thrown in front to Salmon, but her shot was blocked in the nick of time with a stick of Caroline. Oakley on the handoff to Stephanie Danino. Dino down low to Salmon. Salmon maneuvering far side, feeds the outlet atop in McCumber. On the swing, Princeton power play has started. Wrist shot through traffic. Wheeler bobbled it. It's still loose. Backhanded by Greenwood, and she sails it just wide. Salmon behind the net, kicks it back out to Stephanie Danino one more time. Right back to Salmon. Returns to Danino. On the swing, McCumber. Back to Danino along the blue line. Has plenty of room. Let's fly. Look for the tip from Salmon that went wide. Far side, McCumber down low to Andy Greenwood. Greenwood protecting against Wolgemuth. McCumber up top, Mary-Kate Oakley. Oakley fakes the shot, deals back to McCumber, gives over to Danino. Big drive, kick save, Wheeler with the right leg. Rebound gathered by Mallory Johnston, bounces it to the blue line, pressure applied, and the puck is cleared. Caroline will attack shorthanded one-on-one, but now thinks better of it and dumps the puck and heads for fresh lines. 10 seconds to go on the bench minor to the Raiders. 4.5 to go in the second period. We're tied at 1, and an offsides call as Sam Hunt was straddling the blue line when she picked up.
Well, both teams now have created some good opportunities on the power play. Wheeler, just bottling up one there beforehand, giving Princeton a better chance than you would have expected in that situation.
So a face-off in the neutral zone, batted forward by Hunt on Kristen Young, who will play it aside to Laura Watt as Colgate looks to set up its forecheck. Hunt waving the stick in anticipation. We're back to 5 aside. Diagonal pass snapped through the Tiger zone. Here comes Keedy in stride through center. Handing off to Allison Ralph. Batted away from here, and Katie Stewart up the right wing side. Stewart trying to finesse her way by, dispossessed by Ralph. And it's Dosdell back in her own hand. We'll have to reset to Stewart along the far boards. Head manning for Sam Hunt. Hunt on the bank trying to feed Bradford. Bradford got tangled up with Deneen, and it's the Tigers in their own end. Endicott stepping forward. Turned it over to Stewart. 2-on-2 she comes with Bradford. Stewart with a slapper. Stick save Kristen Young. A lively carom to the far side. Gathered by the Tigers. And Allison Ralph gets to the red line. Still going is Ralph as she hits the Colgate stripe. Floats a backhander into the slot. There's going to be a penalty. That's going to go to the Raiders. And the call made for hooking. So good work by Allison Ralph there. She's going to draw a 2-minute minor penalty on the Raiders. Nicole McDonald with 3.5 to go in the second in a 1-1 game.
Yeah, another special teams opportunity here. You know, one of these chances someone's got to cash in at some point. But you know, both teams have held strong so far, defensively and through their goaltending.
So Oakley will take the draw against Carly McNaughton. Oakley, Pierce, Greenwood, with McCumber and Watt opposite Woolgamoose, McNaughton, French, and Brown. And Tara French off the draw, hammers it all the way down. Kristen Young out of her net, plays it aside to Laura Watt. ECAC Hockey League quarterfinals. Game 2 on day 2 of the playoffs. Colgate won game 1, 1-0 in overtime, courtesy of Ashley Bradford's goal, 7:55 in. Mary Kate Oakley and Katie Stewart traded first period tallies, and we're tied at 1 with Princeton on the power play. Kim Pierce kicking it out to Laura Watt. Watt rotating it far side to McCumber, gets the return pass from McCumber, but her shot is blocked and knocked down the high slot. McCumber has to retrieve and reset. Pierce is cutting. McCumber down low. Greenwood on the one-timer. Wheeler takes it up high and holds on.
And Princeton having some good ideas there, being able to draw most of the Colgate defenders to one side, leaving Greenwood with a good opportunity on net there. Not much traffic in front, and Wheeler was able to see it and drive it in.
Colgate will go for a change. Princeton will leave its top unit out there. Hunt is on to take the draw against Oakley in the defensive zone to Wheeler's left. Won, though, by the Tigers. McCumber to Watt. Watt has Pierce available in the circle. McCumber with a one-timer. Did not have a screen, though. Easy kick save for Wheeler. Down low, here's Oakley. Has a player backdoor. Oakley walks to the front and rolls off her stick, but right to McCumber in the far circle. Pulls it back to Watt. On the windup, doesn't shoot. Watt down low to Oakley. Goal line extended. Hands off to Pierce. Pierce with 55 to go on the power play. Watt with a drive. Kick save is made between the circles. A big collision. Oakley goes down. Hunt goes down. We play on. Loose puck flutters back to the circle. Kira Dosdell fires it hard off the glass and out of the zone. Kristen Young, a couple steps away from her crease, plays to McCumber. 35 to go on the power play. 2 to go in the second period. You'll hear from Laura Watt and Carly McNaughton coming up in the second intermission as Lizzie Keaty puts it over the Colgate line when it's sent back down by Kate Woolgamuth for the Raiders. Catherine Deneen scoops it up behind her own net. Chance for one final Russian setup for this Tiger power play. And the rink-wide feed reaches Brittany Salmon as she crosses into Colgate territory. Salmon forces her way down and hands off to Melanie Wallace in the corner. Now to Keaty, playmaking against Woolgamuth. Slides it up the wall to Catherine Deneen. Deneen on the windup, fires through traffic. Tara French knocks it down one step outside the crease, bats it to the far side wall. We're back to 5-a-side, and good alertness by Stephanie Danino to rotate back to neutral ice and intercept a potential breakaway pass. Danino gets the dunk down with 1:20 to go in a 1-1 game here in the second period. Kate Woolgamuth around her own net on the right wing side. The long bank pass is broken up. Colgate will have to start up again from its own end. The handoff comes to Don Bovey. Don Bovey speeding up the left wing side, trying to turn the corner, walks between the circles, but had it roll off her forehand. Now finds the outlet at the point. A wrist shot by Laura Jansen did not go through. 1 minute to go in the period as Ralph picks up far side, pushes on now to Christine Foster. Foster bottle up in the neutral zone, trying to hand it back to her defenseman. And now it's McCumber wheeling away to create space against Caroline. McCumber trying to deal it now to Allison Ralph. Ralph gets the puck deep with 40 seconds on the second period clock. French on the wind to Jansen, right back to Tara French. Banks it off the far side wall, touched by Rotenberg to negate icing as Laura Watt will track it in her own end. Watt with 25 to go in the period, hands off to McCumber behind the net. Hunt into forecheck as McCumber slings it up the far side wall to the red line. And we get a whistle, 2-on-2 scrap long enough to stall the disc. So a face-off in neutral ice with 17 seconds to go in the second period, tied at 1.
Yeah, so another power play here, another penalty killed, and both teams have done a credit to them for doing a good job in the penalty kill. With the depth in the game of college hockey today, I mean, you do see more low scoring. I mean, you can have low scoring games either because of a lack of offensive skill, or because of a lot of defensive skill, and definitely you've seen this the strength of defensive play and goalies and on all levels and leading to low-scoring games in college hockey.
Off the draw, it's Watt for the Tigers. 12 seconds on the clock and no hurry, but then puts it out of play. So that's a bad break for the Tigers. It'll move the draw into their defensive zone. As Sam Hunt will look to set up shop against Mary Kate Oakley about 3 steps inside the blue line, not quite in the faceoff circle. And Hunt kicks it back to Dostal, but she couldn't swing it to Johnson, taken away by Pierce. Pierce with 5 seconds puts a charge into one from the neutral zone. Wheeler sticks it aside, and the second period's going to end just like the first. So still, those 2 goals, one by Mary Kate Oakley, one by Katie Stewart back in the opening 20 minutes, all we have on the board. So Colgate 20 minutes away potentially from getting to the ECAC Hockey League Championship. Princeton potentially 20 minutes away from forcing a decisive Game 3 tomorrow.
Yeah, both teams managing to create a few opportunities and probably doing a better job creating opportunities overall. It's no one making as many big mistakes as they had in the first period, and that's been the difference or lack thereof so far.
Let's step aside for a commercial break. On the other side, you'll hear from Carly McNaughton of the Raiders, Laura Watt of the Tigers. 1-1 Colgate and Princeton. Game 2 of the ECAC Quarterfinals USCHO Game of the Week. We'll be back in just a moment. You are experiencing the 2007 playoffs on USCHO.com. The USCHO Game of the Week is the first ever national internet broadcast for women's college hockey. It is also individually funded. That's why the Game of the Week needs your support to maintain and expand its coverage. For more information on how to contribute, please call 212-933-0652 or send an email to uschobroadcast@yahoo.com. That's 212-933-0652 or uschobroadcast@yahoo.com. My guest is Colgate senior forward and Captain Carly McNaughton. And Carly, it's most exciting time of the year. It's playoff time. So, take me inside the dressing room. How excited is this team? How is this team feeling about its chances after its best finish ever in the league?
We're feeling really excited, I think. We've obviously played Princeton pretty close this year, both games, both 1-goal losses. But we feel that we have pretty good preparation going on this week, and we feel ready to go.
Let's talk about the most recent game. It was down at Baker Rink last Friday, 1-0 game. You guys had some good chances, especially early on and in the third period as well, but they were able to hold you off the board. What are some of the adjustments maybe you're looking to make to finally get over the hump against the Tigers?
I think we're just trying to use our speed to get into their zone and use our forecheck, because we feel if we get into their zone and pressure their defense, we feel we can get to the net and just create some good rebounds, and we can bang some in there.
This has been a year of firsts for this team. You've beaten some teams you've never beaten before, finished higher than you ever have before. For you as a senior, given the journey that this program has gone through, even though it's not over yet, how satisfying has it been?
It's definitely been the most fun I've had this year. Obviously, it's been the most successful season for us in the ECAC. I'm obviously, my freshman year, we went through some rough times, losing, 8-goal games to Dartmouth, Harvard, those kind of teams. So to actually beat those teams this year was very satisfying. We beat Dartmouth, Harvard, St. Lawrence. Princeton's our only notch on the list we haven't gotten to, so we're hoping to do that this weekend.
As for you, being a senior, you've now been a captain for a couple of seasons for this team. I know you have a number of other good veteran leaders along with you, but tell me how you have approached the role. There are still a fair amount of young players. I can just look at the top of your scoring chart to see that. So how have you kind of helped them get up the D1 curve?
I just try and basically lead by example, work hard in practice, make sure they're doing everything they can. Basically, I'm not very I'm kind of a quiet leader, so I just try and basically lead by example.
As for your own game, 10 goals on the season, third on this team in the goal-scoring department. Curious, what are some of the things that you personally focused on improving about your game for your senior year?
Definitely my fitness hasn't been great in the past, so this summer I definitely focused on that. Built up some strength, and it's definitely helped me out this year.
Talking with Colgate senior forward Carly McNaughton. Going to shift gears on you a bit and go to personal background. You are from Alberta, though you were actually born in Winnipeg, and I'm sure being from Canada, hockey was never too far away growing up. But this is a question we put to everyone who comes on the program. Rewind the clock for me way back when. How did you first get mixed up in the game?
Well, my dad's been a coach for as long as I can remember. I have a twin brother who I played with all through, I think it was since we were 5 through when we were 15, so we played on the same team all through there. So basically it was just a family thing, basically born into it kind of thing.
Well, you made the journey eventually from Western Canada to Hamilton, New York, and it's certainly no short trip, but I'm kind of curious. Take me through your college process. What was it about, Colgate the school and Colgate the program? It was a much younger program at that time. What was it that convinced you that that was the place you wanted to go?
Well, actually, I hadn't even heard of it until 2 of my teammates who graduated 2 years ago and 3 years ago actually came here from Alberta. So I heard about it from them, and I guess Coach just kind of saw me play when they came to see those 2 players play, and I just kind of heard about it from there, and I came to visit, and it was the place I wanted to come. So
now you came to college, and along the way, it's really a great story of success for you personally, overcoming adversity. You went through something that certainly no person, no athlete should ever hope to go through. Take me back to the summer of '04. I mean, it may be tough to encapsulate in a few sentences, but sort of what you went through and looking back on it now, what kind of perspective you gained from the illness, the operation, and the subsequent recovery.
Well, I guess that summer, that was basically trying to get ready for the season, and all of a sudden I started feeling not great, obviously. Had to miss that year. But I came back second semester just to go to class, and I practiced with the team, and I think that actually helped me because I was able to watch the games and see what was going on, and that helped me prepare for the next year, I think, and I think I'm stronger for it.
Was there ever a point along the way where you considered that hockey was not going to be an option after you went through the illness and the operation?
Absolutely not.
So
I was when I first heard I had to have surgery, I was still gearing up for the season. I thought I would be a couple days in the hospital and then be back for the season, but obviously that wasn't the case, and I did everything I could afterwards to try and get back. So.
Well, it certainly worked out well. You become a captain, you become an inspiration as well. Now you're in your senior year. Obviously, you have your hockey. You're also a political science major as well in the classroom. So if I make you take a peek beyond the playoffs and beyond graduation, what are some of the things we might see Carly McNaughton involved in, either inside a hockey rink or away from it?
Well, I definitely want to stay involved in the game. I've played since I was 5 years old. My dad's really involved in the game. My brother's actually starting to coach, so coaching's not out of my realm right now. So that's kind of what I'm hoping to do in the future. Maybe not right away, but we'll see what happens, I guess.
Well, as I mentioned, not quite done yet. Let's get back to the Princeton series. Obviously, as you referenced, the series has been close all through your career. The Tigers have gotten the best of it thus far, but what is going to be your message? What is going to be the message of the leaders and the captains of this team before you take the ice for the weekend series?
Well, I think, playing them last year in the playoffs as well, I think we've got a little bit of a revenge factor going on here. Our last game last year, we felt we should have won. Even the games this year, we felt we just needed a couple goals and we would have got rolling. But I think, we're pretty confident going in, and I think that's the message we kind of got to let them know is that, we can definitely beat this team.
My guest is Princeton senior defenseman and captain Laura Watt. And Laura, it is playoff time. You guys won your way into a home ice position. I guess the last 2 weeks seem like they've gone pretty well. Give me an assessment of how this team has really sort of put together a strong stretch push here.
Every year, Jeff makes it important for us to come back from exam break stronger than what we came into it as. Like, he always makes a big point of telling us that our record in the last few games is more important than the rest of the season.
This is a team that went through a couple of things this year. You got off to the great start, actually your best start ever, then kind of had sort of a tough stretch, and then obviously have finished strong. You as a senior, you as a captain, how did you try to maybe help this team through some of the ups and downs of this year?
I think for some of our more inexperienced players, they had to take a look at our actual schedule. When we were in our so-called slump, we were playing Mercyhurst twice, Harvard, Dartmouth, and these are teams that we actually did well against. We actually shot them and stuff like that, but didn't come out winning. So you just need to take it in stride and learn from your mistakes.
I mentioned that you are a captain now in your senior year. Tell me a bit about how you've gone about approaching the role in general. What kind of captain are you for this team?
Lead by example. I've tried not to change, because I try to think that they voted me in because of who I was, not who they thought I might be, or they didn't think that I was going to become something else. They voted me in because of what I've been the past 3 years. That's what I was hoping.
Also, in terms of your game, you're obviously a versatile player. We've talked before that you've spent time at defense, time at forward, been productive at both positions. We've seen that again this year. Kind of curious, what were some of the areas of focus for you? What did you want to improve in this your senior year?
Definitely improve my actual defensive game. Since I've never actually played defense for a long period of time, some things that classic defense, just your gap and stuff like that, I was never really good at, because I was more of an offensive D at first when I first went back. So just cleaning up my game more defensively was important for me this year.
Of course, behind you guys, you're also going through a transition in goal. It's a much younger position now than it was the last few years with Roxanne Gaudiel back there. But, we've seen good things out of both Brittany Parisi and Kristen Young, especially down the stretch. Again, I know you're not a goaltender, but have there been things that you've been able to do as a veteran player to maybe help those two get comfortable with their role?
Yeah, I think it's just hard for them, beyond having, the pressure of, all young players, they have the pressure of a game, them being one of the most important players in the game, and then also, the competition between each other. I think it's hard for them to come, every day, all week, and then still not, have, a secure position on the weekend, even though, they are one of our more important players. So, I think just letting them know that, it's okay that they feel, pressure, and that, they just need to be able to, deal with it, and not get too stressed out over it.
This is a team that won 21 games a year ago, that was a participant in the NCAA tournament, was second in the conference. I mentioned there's obviously players who are new to the game, but you have a fair amount of veteran players back. How much does that experience help at this time of year?
I think it helps, really importantly with conditioning. We know what it takes to, be able to get out every weekend, no matter how late in the season it is, healthy and, in shape. Being smart during the week when you're training, and just being able to be at your top performance on the weekend when it comes.
Going to switch quickly to personal background. I know we've done most of that with you last year, but just want to get an update since you are a senior. If I make you take a peek beyond graduation, now that you're finally approaching it, what might we see Laura Watt up to once she's away from Princeton?
As of now, probably playing hockey in the Toronto area, except where I'm originally from. And either graduate school or working in my field.
Which is?
Mechanical and aerospace engineering.
That's right. Wanted to make sure that people heard that one again. Well, you're not quite done that yet. Let's get back to the business at hand, which is, interestingly, a rematch with the team you just saw last Friday to earn home ice, that being the Colgate Raiders. First question is, you have never lost to this team in your career. That being said, every game seems to be like it was last Friday, of the 1-0 or sort of low-scoring, close variety. Your thoughts on the matchup, your thoughts on what you've seen from Colgate this season?
They're definitely one of the stronger teams we've played against. I think we need to keep in mind that, even though we've beaten them, we, have watched them beat teams that, are on the top of our leagues every year. So they're capable of winning games, and they have players that definitely can score goals. So we just need to be ready and not take them for granted.
That being said, they did not score a goal on Friday, and I know that Colgate runs a flyer system, so they consistently had a player hanging out in the neutral zone. You're a defensive player. What are some of the keys to containing them at the defensive end?
Smart forecheck. As a defense, you have to rely on your forwards to do the job that they're sent in to do, and then good communication with your D partner. I play with Dina, and it's just every D pairing has to be able to communicate well with each other, so that you're taking care of that kid that's back there, but not just letting them get easy breaks either.
The other part was the one goal you guys scored came on a power play. I know you quarterbacked the top power play unit. Percentage-wise hasn't been the best year for you guys, but you come up with a key goal on Friday. What are some of the keys, and what have you been working on in the power play department for the playoffs?
We've definitely been working on more shots. I guess our main thing is to try and get shots from the points, and I just took it a bit more seriously this past weekend, and the way that Colgate set up their penalty kill just worked into our favor, and Pierce set me up with a pass that I was able to one time, so it just happened.
Thoughts of Carly McNaughton and Laura Watt after 2 periods of play. Brian Schultz, Dave DeReamer on hand. 1-1, Colgate and Princeton, Game 2 of the ECAC quarterfinals. And Dave, before we get back to the game, you heard both Scott Wiley and Carly McNaughton talk about what she went through. Really an extraordinary story. I mean, talk about players trying to come back from injury, players trying to overcome adversity, but you never really consider life-threatening situations, which is what she went through, and she's come out on the other side to be an even better player and a captain for this team. And maybe, it seemed like being an athlete might have actually helped her survive the ordeal that she went through.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that feature is still on the Colgate website. Definitely look for it. Absolutely amazing story. Better. I mean, reading that, it's a more dramatic story than anything you'd see on one of those fictional medical dramas out there. Just to see what she went through, and had a 30-pound weight loss at one point, and they thought it was cancer. Turned out not to be cancer. When they opened her up, the doctors even feared the worst as soon as they looked at her. But as an athlete, she was able to recover quickly, and everyone was pretty impressed. And great inspirational story.
And resumed her hockey career, and here she is, part of the senior class, trying to get Colgate through this series. Tied at 1. Here they come at the opening draw. Shoveled to the front by Minnick. Fought off by Kristen Young. Here's Ellen Brown in the corner. Brown on the handoff to Minnick. Minnick's got modest totals in her freshman season, but she seems to be a catalyst when she's on the ice. Good speed, good energy, the freshman out of Colorado, as McCumber banks it up left wing to Melanie Wallace. Hacked back in by the Raider defense, and here's Watt back in her own end one more time as Brown comes in to forecheck. So both teams searching for an offensive hero, much the way they've been anytime they've played. Last night it was Ashley Bradford for the Raiders. Tonight, who will it be? 1-1. First minute of the third period. Of course, we play. And if we need extra time again tonight, it will go until we have a winner. And if that winner is Colgate, the series ends 2-0, and the Raiders go to the ECAC quarterfinals. If it's Princeton, Game 3 is tomorrow, Sunday afternoon, here at Baker Rink at 4 p.m. We will have that one for you if it comes to pass. Catherine Deneen in the corner, sandwiched to the glass by Bradford. Hunt is there as well, as is Katie. Deneen still has a stick on the puck, and she's able to get the clearance up right wing to Salmon. 2-on-2. Salmon hits the line with Greenwood driving the net. Salmon floats a shot wide. Greenwood gets to it. Salmon trying to wrap it up the side of the cage. That was denied. Poke to the blue line. Fielded by Hunt. A nice touch pass. Through center comes Rotenberg for a drive, but her slap shot is blocked away. Dombovi giving chase against Greenwood. Greenwood slips around Dombovi and backhands it up right wing to Brittany Salmon. Salmon on the right wing side, steps underneath the check, maneuvers deep to the zone where Dosdell rubs her out against the back glass. In swoops Dombovi to take the puck. On the quick rotation now to Laura Jansen far side, and Jansen on the headman trying to hit Rotenberg at center. That was foiled by Hession, and Hession gets the dump down. 2 minutes gone in the third, tied at 1. Long lead pass again. This time they connect, and in stride it's dumped to the zone, but at the end of her shift was Caroline. And so as Young plays it to Hession, Colgate gets fresh legs out there. A long lead pass the other way from the Tigers, evades the stick of Sonia Novak and goes all the way down for an icing.
Yeah, going back to Carly McNaughton, there was, we talked about this being a season first for Colgate. There was a time when Colgate was 0-4-1, and it didn't look like there would be a if it was first for anything, it wasn't going to be the good kind. And Carly, in a game where Colgate blew a 3-1 lead against Yale, Carly was able to get the game winner in overtime, then came back the next day, had 2 goals to break up a tied game against Brown, and that really set the stage for what's been a record-breaking season for them.
Colgate, as Dave alluded to, starting slow. The 0-4-1 start. They were actually still 4-9-1 as the Thanksgiving weekend approached, but since that time, they have parlayed that, turned things around. Since that time, 4-9-1 has become a 12-5-1 next 18 games, and here they stand in the third period of a 1-1 contest, potentially 1 goal away from moving on to the ECAC Hockey League semifinals. Oakley wins the draw. Princeton has been excellent in the face-off department tonight. Through 2 periods of play, the Tigers were, as a team, 32 and 17 on the draw, just over 60%. And Oakley was 10 for 15 on the night. Kim Pierce losing in the corner, wrapped around behind the cage. Colgate has possession. Nice clean breakout. 2-on-2 they come. Here's Sam Hunt over the line. Stopping, firing. Save is made by Young. The rebound dribbles away, but right to the stick of Laura Watt. And here's Mary Kate Oakley in transition, feeding Marilyn Wallace up the right wing side. Wallace cutting to the center. The wrist shot. Kick save is made. Oakley on the follow. She bats it just wide. Kim Pierce scoops it up in the ring. Kicks it back out to Deneen. Deneen with a drive. That was blocked down. And Colgate will look for the clearance. Banked on ahead. Too far for the racing stick of Ashley Bradford, and so we get the call for icing on Colgate. 16:28 to go in the third, 1-1 the score.
The series has certainly been highlighted by great goaltending, but not in that last minute. Yeah, a couple opportunities there on both sides. You know, when you have Sam Hunt bearing down on you, as Kristen Young did, it can be a scary situation. The same thing on the other end.
Another draw win for the Tigers. Deneen on the swing. Denino with a wrist shot, tipped just wide by Keedy in front. Greenwood probing for it down low. Danino's broken her stick, so here comes Hessian off the boards for reinforcements as Colgate takes advantage and clears up that side. Offsides here on the Raiders as Rotenberg was orchestrating, but looked like Lean or Domvobi was a little bit overzealous in getting the skates into the zone, so the face-off back in neutral ice.
And once again, we're starting to see some pretty good flow here until it's interrupted by that offsides play. You know, both teams, it's playoff hockey tie game.
They have added an assist, incidentally, to the Colgate goal. So that officially is now Stewart from Hunt and Tara French. And we got a penalty. Heavy contact along the blue line of the Colgate zone. It was Greenwood who went down under the hit. Well, I believe that is Kira Dosdell. And so Dosdell will take a 2-minute minor penalty. Princeton to the power play. So the two goals, Oakley from Pierce at 14:23 of the first, and then Stewart on a 5-on-3 from Hunt and French at 16:35 of the first. And in a 1-1 game here in the third with 4 minutes gone, it's Princeton on the 5-on-4 where they are 0 for 5 with 12 shots on goal tonight. Dina McCumber playing catch up top. Big one-timer flutters in on Wheeler, who reacted late, but made the adjustment and the save.
Yeah, probably more used to Laura Watt unloading like that, but Dina McCumber, you know, she had a clear path from her angle and not the best look from Wheeler, and yeah, McCumber let it rip and tried to send it right to that corner.
Shots on goal through 2 periods of play. Princeton 29, Colgate 16, 14-7 Tigers in that second frame. But action has been more even than perhaps those totals would indicate, as the scoreboard, the best indicator right now, tied at 1. Here's Kristen Young out of her crease to play it to Laura Watt. Watt massages to Salmon. Hunt trying to break things up, but Watt still has possession with 1:22 to go on the Princeton power play. She totes it into the Colgate zone. Watt monitored step for step by Tara French. The two all-conference players get together in the corner. Here's Greenwood to the front, trying to power her way to goal. That shot was deflected away. Clearance is foiled by Kim Pierce. Nice moves by Pierce along the blue line. Goes to her knees trying to hold it in, but now turns it over, and it's forked on ahead by Mallory Johnston. Dina McCumber back in her own end. Dealing over to Watt. Watt. Saucer pass through center to Andy Greenwood. Greenwood hits the line. Greenwood has a shot on the forehand that goes high and wide. Chopped around the wall, but not out. 43 seconds to go on the power play. Danino now to Pierce in the circle. Up top, Stephanie Danino right back to Kim Pierce. Steps into a wrist shot. That was blocked in the circle. Goes right back to the stick of the Tiger captain. And she of 126 career points. Let's fly again. Bouncing puck between the circles did not go through. And this time the Raiders get the clear. Danino skates back to Corral with 18 seconds to go on the penalty to Dosdell and 14:20 left in the third still. Colgate 1 and Princeton 1. Raiders up 1-0 in this best-of-3 series. Sam Hunt tucking it back out of the zone, and Deneen on the back pedal to her own blue line picks up. Right wing side to Pierce. Her entry to the zone is denied by Carly McNaughton. And now here's Hunt moving through center on delayed penalty. Hunt with a shot that sails wide. Princeton is going to be shorthanded as McNaughton was dumped along the red line. And as Oakley touches up, the call is going to be made for checking. And so it will be Colgate's power play that goes back to work, where they are 1 for 5 on the evening.
Yeah, it seems like we've been in almost continuous special teams for the latter half of the second period and early in this period. It definitely has to wear on you know, some of each team's top players to have all the special teams out here so much.
So Colgate, which scored its only goal on the 5-on-3, will skate 5-on-4 here for the next 2 minutes, having just killed off the Tigers' 6th power play of the evening. And it will be Hunt against Christine Foster in the faceoff circle to the right of Kristen Young. Colgate wins it cleanly. Dosdell, wrist shot through traffic, kick save, rebound forked just wide by Katie Stewart. Ellen Brown leads for Hunt. The dangerous Sam Hunt curling into the circle, uses the outlet and Dosdell. Quick release wrist shot, kick save by Young. Sam Hunt on the follow, gathers it on the far circle and pulls it back out to the perimeter. Now Dosdell, swinging to Tara French. French looking for the wrist shot with Brown in front. That was blocked, went back to Dosdell. Now to Sam Hunt. McCumber comes out to pressure. French on the one-timer, caught it on edge. And as Kristen Young makes the catch, we get the whistle with 1:29 to go on the Melanie Wallace minor penalty.
Yeah, Colgate definitely playing with a lot of purpose in that power play and making some things happen. And I think they've definitely progressed through the course of the last week and even throughout the day. And
Face-off will be to Kristen Young's left. McNaughton against Keedy. Colgate wins another one. Big drive, deflected between the circles. Carolina on the backhand. That didn't go through. Comes back to Lean for the forehand shot. That goes high over the crossbar. Allie Edel against Catherine Deneen, far side. Edel spinning off the wall. Tapped it to Lean in the corner. Monitored by McCumber as she moves up the far wall. 1:10 to go on the power play. Rolling puck to the blue line. Big drive block did not go through. Keedy has time to gather. And as she turns, she finds the lane to clear. Brittany Salmon chasing it all the way down will actually get there a half step ahead of Mallory Johnson. They collide and go hard into the back wall. Salmon a bit slow to get up as Colgate tries to move to the attack. Salmon still looks a little bit hobbled, but looks to be okay as Colgate is still pinned in their zone. Now Salmon skates off with a normal stride, and a Colgate with 40 seconds to go on their man advantage will look to move up the near side of the rink. A number of bodies go down, as this time it's Keedy who's shaken up along the red line we play on as the puck is batted back down to the Colgate end, and Keedy is slow to get to the bench. Sam Hunt back out there for the Raiders. Hunt spinning away from Allison Ralph. Tara French blew a tire along the blue line. She's back to her feet as here comes Dosdell through center in the final 15 of the power play. 1-1 the score with 12:15 to go in the third. Laura Watt winding it around. Christine Foster hemmed in by Brown. Now here's Hunt trying to poke it free. Taken by Pierce in the circle. Her clearing attempt denied by the reach of Hunt on the far side. Sam Hunt leaving for Dosdell. Penalty just about over. Back to Hunt outside the ring. Here comes Wallace. Hunt on the drive. Kick save. Rebound is loose. Reaching for it is Kristen Young. Stewart trying to bat it home, and Young has it covered.
Yeah, starting to see a bit of fire on both sides right there. And, Colgate definitely had one good opportunity after another. But, yeah, Kristen Young appears to be down.
Young is shaken up at the side of the cage. It was a slap shot from Sam Hunt. Young made the initial stop. It was loose by the side of the crease area. Young went over to reach for it, as was Katie Stewart. Now, Stewart's body was below the end line as she tried to kind of hook her stick back and tap it in. Young fended her off, made the cover, but in doing so appears to have injured herself as she is being attended to by the Princeton training staff. And perhaps it is a left leg that is being tended to by the trainer as Coach Jeff Campersall comes out to investigate the proceedings. So Kristen Young, the sophomore out of Calgary, Alberta, as we mentioned, actually a former teammate of Sam Hunt back in high school, now facing each other here in the playoffs. And as Young took that drive off from Hunt and made the save on the follow, appears to have tweaked something in the left leg. And so that adds another potentially interesting wrinkle to what has already been a highly contested couple of games between these two teams, in which both Kristen Young and Brooke Wheeler have been the feature participants.
Yeah, things definitely started to look to get a little bit violent in the last couple minutes. Not for, just both teams going hard, just natural plays like that. And, when those kinds of things happen, injuries can happen. You just had a hard play along the boards where Katie got knocked out by a play that was not really related to what was going on. But
well, the Keedy play, you're right. There were actually three players over there. Keedy and her defender were tangled up, and a third player came in off balance and made contact with Keedy as she was going down. So that was definitely one of those no harm, no foul, but a lot of bodies going different directions, colliding at the same point. And as you alluded to, definitely you can sense the intensity picking up on both sides. With 11:50 to go in this third period, and still Colgate and Princeton tied at 1 apiece in game 2. So as we look across the score sheet, Dartmouth is through, Harvard is through. It looks like St. Lawrence is through. They're up 3-0 midway through the third period in game 2 against Clarkson. So this is the series that, as everyone expected, is the one that's hanging in the balance. Colgate up 1-0, but tied at 1 here on the road against the Princeton Tigers. Now a good sign as Kristen Young looks like she's going to get to her feet under her own power. And now actually goes back to her knees.
Yeah.
She's trying to see what she has, and I think Kristen Young is going to have to come out of this game. So a big development here in the series. Young is skating under her own power and hacking her stick on the ice, but it appears she is going to have to come to the bench and seek relief in the training room. So freshman Brittany Parisi, who has had her moments in this season, most notably a 47-save effort against Mercyhurst in a 1-0 overtime defeat. The freshman will have to come on in a 1-1 tie with 11:50 to go in the third period. Can't think of a bigger spot in your first year to make your playoff debut.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Kristen Young, showing some frustration, right from the moment she went down. Definitely made every effort she could to stay on the ice. Any competitor in the third period of a 1-1 hockey game, especially a playoff game, is you hate to have to see that, but she did everything she could and every step of the way.
So Liz Keaty comes to warm Brittany Parisi up. As we mentioned, Parisi, this is one of those times where Jeff Campersall is definitely thanking the fact that he gave both goaltenders a lot of playing time. Parisi, this is her 12th appearance, freshman out of Clinton, New Jersey, 5-6 on the season, 1.97 goals against, 91% save percentage, as she and Young at one point were basically alternating before Young really had a good couple of weeks down the stretch to seize control of the #1 job. But Parisi having to come on in relief with Kristen Young shaken up in the third period, and the score tied at 1.
Right, especially that Mercyhurst game you alluded to. She has reason to be confident, and she's had signs of success this year, and Princeton can be very confident in front of her because of that. And I think they're definitely going to want to step up and not put anything on her shoulders and make it easier for her too.
So we're set to go. The faceoff's going to be to Parisi's right, so depending on the outcome of the draw, she could be involved in the action immediately. And McNaughton does win it back to Minnick. Quick wrist shot goes wide. Stephanie Danino behind her own net, moves up the left wing side, springing Salmon through center. Brittany Salmon knifing to the right wing side, floats it to the corner as Greenwood gives chase down low. Annie Greenwood, sophomore out of New Canaan, Connecticut, chips it up the wall, batted to the blue line, or reaching for it. A couple of players go down again, and again, just players getting together, contesting for the loose puck. It squirts out of play as Salmon wipes some snow off her jersey and heads to the bench.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll see both teams pick up the intensity up even another notch if that was possible. Princeton definitely wanting to play well in front of their new goaltender. Colgate wanting to test her as quickly as possible.
So Colgate won and Princeton won off the draw. The Tigers win this one, and Tara French will field it back behind her own net, lining it around the boards. If there is a game 3, it will be tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern time. We'll have that one for you if it takes place. Right now, Kim Pierce trying to change that as she tucks it through the goal mouth, but there was nobody home on the weak side, and the Raiders get the clear. Stephanie Danino, near side to Catherine Deneen. Deneen trying to find Pierce in traffic at center, headed off by Tara French. Here comes Sam Hunt cutting to the middle, feeding Katie Stewart. Stewart, missed shot, she scores! Katie Stewart from Sam Hunt again, and Colgate with 10:55 to go in the third has taken a 2-1 lead.
Yeah, I talked about Princeton wanting to make things easier for Parisi, but that's definitely not what Princeton wanted, leaving Stewart wide open for a 2-1 opportunity. That was a tougher chance than anything that Kristen Young had to face.
You said it, Dave. The first shot you want to see is a long-distance head-on shot with nobody in front of you. You do not want to see the team's second-leading goal scorer all alone with time to pick a space and pick her spot from about 10 feet. And Stewart taking a nice pass from Hunt, snaps home her second of the game and 18th on the season, going high to the short side. And Colgate with 10:45 to go Their bench is alive, and a strong contingent that has made the trip from Hamilton. I see the maroon jerseys and the Colgate sweatshirts on the side of the rink. They have sprung to life as their team is smelling it now. Desperation time for the Princeton Tigers, down 2-1 in Game 2 of this quarterfinal series. Dina McCumber digs it out of the corner. McCumber in her senior season. Good two-way defenseman, pushes it into the offensive zone. Back to get it, Mallory Johnston. Sonia Novak meets her behind the net. Christine Foster also there on the forecheck, but Colgate is out of the zone. Raiders coming through center as Don Bovey gets the dump down. The foot race is on Ellen Brown against Dina McCumber. McCumber wins that one, leaving for Hessian in the corner, and now it's Minnick as it's thrown to the front. Parisi watches it roll by, but Christine Foster restoring order and springing Keedy up the right wing side. Keedy on the bank to the Colgate blue line, headed off there by Mallory Johnston. Neutral zone play with 9:50 to go in the third, and Colgate leading by a count of 2-1. Colgate trying to hold on and win its way through to its first ever semifinals appearance and a date with the Dartmouth Big Green if they can get there. Long drive, and that one goes right into the chest protector of Parisi, who makes her first save.
Colgate seems to be doing a great job, bringing people along the opposite side and making things happen. Princeton's not picking it up so much. That's what led to Ashley Stewart's goal. Almost had an opportunity there. And, you're seeing some of the seniors from Princeton certainly showing some emotion.
So on a night when you expect the seniors to come to the fore, Katie Stewart, the freshman, steps up with 2 goals. But here's Brittany Salmon in space on the right wing side. Salmon with a wrist shot, trying to go high to the short side, and Wheeler comes up with the stop with 9:15 to go in the third. Raiders trying to get the clear courtesy of Bradford, and that's foiled for the moment. They'll try to create some space back behind the net as Sam Hunt leaves it down there. Greenwood monitoring on the forecheck. Colgate going to the air on the clear, and they're going to take the icing here as it sails the distance with 8:59 on the clock. And Katie Stewart's second of the game and 18th of the season, having the Raiders up 2-1.
Yeah, not really a smart play by Colgate there. Certainly better options than giving Princeton another face-off on their own zone.
Especially since the Tigers, as we alluded to, have won better than 60% of draws tonight. And Oakley wins another one cleanly right back to McCumber. McCumber, though, her shot is blocked. Colgate in transition, the bank pass. This is not going to go far enough for icing. Rotenberg chasing after McCumber, who turns it aside to Laura Watt, far side. Watt back to McCumber on the bank, up the right wing boards. As it go through Kim Pierce, Wallace giving chase in the offensive end. Banked back out by the Raiders, and now it's Deneen along her own blue stripe. Dita Watt, Mary Kate Oakley at center ice. And the puck rolls into the Colgate end, just as quickly fired back out. And Colgate just fine with seeing that kind of action proceed here with 8 minutes to go in the third. Raiders up 2-1. So coming into this weekend, they had never defeated the Princeton Tigers. They did so in overtime last night, courtesy of Ashley Bradford. They're 8 minutes away from doing it again and getting through to the ECAC Hockey League semifinals here tonight. Mary Kate Oakley leaving back to Deneen. Deneen trying to find some space and an angle to feed Allison Ralph, who gets a touch to it to get it to the Colgate end. Supported by Sonia Novak. Novak crashes behind the cage, sweeps out the near side. But her pass to the point is tipped out of the zone, and Parisi will skate out of her crease to play it aside to Hessian. Ellen Brown in to apply the forecheck as Hessian skirts up the right wing side. Indirect pass finds Christine Foster over the Raider line with 7.5 to go in the third. And Colgate up 2-1. Big hit against the back glass against Christine Foster. There's going to be a penalty to the Raiders. And so Princeton, which is 0 for 6 on the power play, needs its extra man unit to come through here.
Absolutely. And again, not a smart play by Colgate, stating the obvious. And, since they've taken the lead, haven't generated too much attack. And the Stewart shot's pretty much all we've seen since Breezy came into the game.
The penalty is on Evan Minnick. So the freshman will sit for 2, and the draw will be to Brooke Wheeler's left. With 7:28 on the clock, Princeton 0 for 6 on the power play, and Colgate gets the clear. Last Friday night, Princeton's power play was the difference in the game. Now they need it to come up with the equalizer and preserve their season here in Game 2 of the playoffs. Annie Greenwood, though, dispossessed along the blue line, and Colgate's going to keep Princeton hemmed in its own half for a little while longer. Laura Watt will actually retreat all the way behind her own cage to restart. Sam Hunt is out there to provide the forecheck. Watt Angles it up right wing to Keedy. Keedy strides into the zone, cuts to the center of the ice between a couple of Colgate defenders. Dispossessed, though. Taken back by Greenwood in the high slot. She maneuvers to the ring. Skipping a pass nicely to Laura Watt. Now swings to McCumber in space, who bats it down low. Keedy is there to receive. Inching her way up the boards, trying to protect the puck. Leaves it behind the net, but it goes right to Tara French, who hammers it around and not out. Held nicely by Watt. Her rink-wide feed. McCumber was headed off on a change, and Colgate's going to get an easy clear as they bang it all the way down. 55 seconds to go on the penalty to Minnick. 6.5 left in the third. Colgate 2 and Princeton 1. Raiders up 1-0 as Pierce, in her senior season, skates into the zone on right wing. Has Oakley down low. Oakley and Pierce combine to work it free, and here's Kim Pierce banking it off the wall to Hessian. Hessian with a drive through traffic in front, turning is Oakley for the wrist shot. She scores! Mary Kate Oakley with her second of the game to answer Katie Stewart's pair. And again, we're tied at 2.
Great play by Mary Kate Oakley, taking off a rebound, spinning around, had time just like Ashley Stewart did on the other end. Picked her spot, and now we have a tie game.
So Katie Stewart has 2 goals, and Mary Kate Oakley has 2 goals. For Oakley, that's her 15th. And a big power play strike for the Tigers when they needed it. Beautiful shot by Oakley as she gathered the rebound of the Hessian drive and parked it upstairs over the shoulder of the 5'10 Wheeler. And we're tied at 2 apiece with 6 to go in the third. Oakley, playmaking off the draw in neutral ice, puts it deep to the zone one more time and comes in on the forecheck along with Pierce. Evasive action of Tara French up the right wing side. Colgate has the puck deep, and giving chase is Don Bovey against McCumber. Rotenberg there as well for Scott Wiley's Raiders. Kim Pierce pokes it free to Laura Watt behind the net. A couple players lost an edge as Rotenberg fell down, and it's taken by McCumber for the Tigers, still in her defensive zone with 5.5 to go in the third. Dangerous pass, a blind pass in front of her own net, stolen by Sam Hunt. Hunt trying to finesse her way to the front. Poke check applied by Mary Kate Oakley, and a dangerous moment averted there for the Tiger defense. Oakley then eludes the forecheck of Hunt, moves up the right wing side. It's been a long shift for her. She'll head off on the change. Kira Dosdell back in her own end, but Wheeler's going to cover it instead. So 5:06 on the clock, and Mary Kate Oakley's 15th has answered Katie Stewart's 18th. We're tied at 2.
Yeah, both teams have been able to capitalize on just enough mistakes to get 2 goals on the scoreboard. Each side taking a couple bad penalties, each side having a bad defensive breakdown, and it's a matter of who's going to make the fewer mistakes down the stretch here.
Hessian with a wrist shot, deflection, bounces wide to the back wall. Scooped up there by Allison Rao for the Tigers. Centering pass, tipped by Sonia Novak. Taken by the Raiders, and they'll move to center. Mallory Johnston on the dump in. Bradford applies the forecheck against Zanine. She goes D to Hessian, scales it high off the glass to center ice. McNaughton knocks it down there. Harley McNaughton, one of the captains for this Colgate squad, trying to headman. That pass was broken up. Minnick makes herself available on the right wing side, and she has the puck, ladling it on ahead. Trying to receive a return pass. That was intercepted by Greenwood. Andy Greenwood in traffic gets a stick together with Johnston, and the puck pops high out of play.
Yeah, Colgate not having a whole lot of flow since taking the lead earlier on. And, they need to get back into this.
Off the draw. Raiders with possession. 4:15 now on the clock. Tied at 2, and we're going to have an offsides call on Colgate as the puck was deflected in the air as they were trying to move in. We'll bring the draw back to center. Keedy's going to take it for the Tigers. Looks like Minnick will do the honors for the Raiders. And this arena is alive. As here comes McNaughton. Curling to the right wing side, trying to center. That was broken up by Greenwood. Transition for the Tigers. Greenwood with the trailer Keedy. Greenwood takes a blast. It doesn't go through. Behind the net, Dosdell is hemmed in by Keedy. They cancel each other out against the wall. Greenwood steps to a check, trying to center. Knocked away by the stick of Wheeler. And it's Colgate emerging from the fray with possession. Here comes Wolgamuth from her defensive position. Stop and go move. Slings one high over the crossbar. The carom is controlled by Rotenberg. She fires it to the corner. And Laura Watt chips it out to Salmon on the left wing side. Salmon one-on-one with Tara French. Salmon to the center. Bouncing wrist shot is blocked. Does not go through. French takes over one step in front of the crease. Up right wing to Caroline, where it's taken back for the Tigers by Melanie Wallace. Wallace dumps it in with 3:20 to go in the third. Colgate 2 and Princeton 2 in Game 2 of the ECAC Hockey League quarterfinals. Kate Hessian back in her own end, being shadowed by Marissa Dombovi. Lean is there on the forecheck, and she breaks it up against Catherine Deneen. Lean continuing to kick for it. Rotenberg comes over to help out. Oakley is there as well for the Tigers. Whoa, this is left shot. They score! A wild shot from long range is blasted home. And it might have been Tara French who put a charge into one and caught a bit of a break as it caught a piece of Brittany Parisi and squirted into the top shelf. A prayer of a point shot, but Colgate will take it. They have a 3-2 lead.
Yeah, was it Scott Wiley said before that the game might come down to, pretty much a random fluky kind of bounce of the puck or something like that, and that, that's pretty much what you saw there. But, credit to Colgate for taking that shot, and, this game's all about taking advantage of opportunities, and, sometimes the bounces go your way, sometimes you don't, and, tough break for Parisi for sure.
Well, if you're a believer in the magic bullet theory, that puck would lend credence to your philosophy as Tara French. So that puck came out of the pile hot. It was not a pass. It was actually a Tiger that let loose trying to clear the zone. Came out of the pile hot. French just one time to kind of off balance, and it looked like the puck might have gone, either was going wide or was close to going wide. It tipped off Parisi in some way and then snuck right underneath the crossbar. For French, that will be her 7th. And so Colgate comes back. And by these team standards, a bevy of goal scoring in this one. 3-2 Colgate with 2:20 to go in the third. So Katie Stewart with a pair, Mary Kate Oakley with a pair, and now Tara French, the senior, with the tiebreaker for the moment, has Colgate up 3-2 with 2:11 to play in the third.
Again, tough break for Breezy there. Like, they only she hasn't faced too many shots from Colgate. Very tough to get into a game in this kind of situation.
That was a surprising type shot, too. Though it'd be one thing if a soft, smooth pass was laid over to French and she blasted it home. That was a hot clearance, and she got it cleanly. I think it surprised everyone, including herself. Her reaction indicated surprise as well when the puck went in, but Colgate with the 3-2 lead here. We'll see if and when Jeff Campersall can get Brittany Parisi to the bench for the extra skater. Colgate is 145 away from the sweep and a berth in the ECAC semifinals. Deneen on the head man, springing the Tigers forward. Here's Sonia Novak. There goes Parisi, but she can't leave the zone as it's stolen by Minnick. Minnick from long range, and Parisi will have to make a stick save. So Parisi was on her way to the bench when Colgate got possession of the puck, and she got back in the nick of time to make the save. Now Oakley up right wing. Here she comes again as Oakley carries deep to the zone. Oakley on the centering pass. Wheeler fights it off with her right leg. The 6th skater is on. Colgate gets the clear with 1:15 to go in the third, and Colgate up by 1, 3-2 over the Princeton Tigers. Dina McCumber, in perhaps the final game of her career, floats it to the back wall. Kira Dosdell takes over there. Spun to French. French the hero for the moment. Can't clear by Laura Watt. Watt with a drive. In front, Greenwood batting at it. She couldn't come up with the follow. Puck is still in the zone, diving after it. Colgate trying to clear a full stretch by McCumber, keeps it in the zone. Down low, it's Dosdell with 45 seconds on the clock. Pierce from behind, harassing, trying to force the turnover. In swoops Mary Kate Oakley. Puck is still loose behind the net. Kicked free now to Pierce. 35 seconds on the clock. Kim Pierce trying to turn it in front. That's intercepted. Here comes Colgate to the neutral zone from long range. This is going to be an icing, and that is a little bit of a mistake there by the Raiders. Not gaining center ice. Sam Hunt letting fly too soon, and it will be a face-off back by Brooke Wheeler with 27 seconds on the clock.
And it's a common mistake that we see in college hockey. I think the St. Lawrence-Dartmouth game on this program
Just
a few weeks
about
before was a good example of that, where St. Lawrence had the 1-goal lead down the stretch, and I think it was Crystal Connors iced the puck, and definitely see lots of groans on the St. Lawrence bench after that one. Jillian Apps ends up getting the game-tying goal and the game winner. After that one, you can't take that shot unless you're 100% sure it's going into the net.
Well, here's a little bit of an interesting sidebar. A late penalty has been assessed to the Princeton Tigers. So maybe Sam Hunt was not totally guilty of icing that puck. Maybe she was helped to the ice by Dina McCumber, but a very late call by Jim McKenna. And so McCumber's in the box, and it's only 5-on-5, even though the Tiger net is empty. And the draw comes outside the zone. Keedy, though, wins it back to Watt. Final charge for the Tigers. Here comes Kim Pierce. Pierce, who's had such a great career, lobbing it in on Wheeler. Wheeler guides it aside. Turned up the wall by Wolgemuth. Oakley is over there with 15 seconds. Oakley works her way out of the pile. The puck drifts into the circle. It's batted back to the corner. Pierce is on it. 10 seconds on the clock. Pierce splits the defense, but there's going to be a penalty, and that one's going to go to the Tigers as well for a pick being set down low. So 2 penalties on the Princeton Tigers in the final minute of a game that they're trying to come back from 3-2, and the draw will be, I believe, outside the zone as Keedy is escorted to the box.
Yeah, just a really tough way for McCumber and for McCumber to possibly interfere in the penalty box if this is the way it turns out. I mean, she did everything she could to try to stop Sam Hunt putting the puck in the empty net there. Might have missed anyway, but McCumber had definitely made contact with Hunt on the play earlier, and then now we have Keedy going in the box too.
So the Princeton net is still empty, but Princeton is shorthanded here, 5-on-4, with both Keedy and McCumber in the box. 7 seconds on the clock. Draw is in the neutral zone. Along the red line, tap back to Laura Watt. Watt bats it forward. It's intercepted. This time Hunt gains the zone on the backhand as she floats it wide. In a season of firsts for the Colgate Raiders, why don't you add one more to the list? Colgate is going to their first ever ECAC Hockey League Championship appearance. And it looks like they have a date with the Dartmouth Big Green next weekend in Hanover, New Hampshire.
Yeah, congratulations to the Colgate Raiders for their first ECAC semifinal appearance. Earlier in the season, looked like this day definitely wasn't coming. You had, think back to a while ago, you had Princeton 8-0-2, Colgate 2-7-1 in each of these teams' first 10 games. But Colgate showed that it's a long season, and with a young team, a lot of different things can happen. And also great to see the development of the ECACHL and some fresh blood get into that 14 tournament. You saw Dartmouth, Harvard, St. Lawrence, have been the mainstays there, but Colgate's beaten every one of them this season.
Exactly. They're the only team that's done it, so
right.
A little bit of intrigue at least from an automatic bid perspective. Now, granted, they did beat Dartmouth without Dartmouth's best players at the Four Nations Cup, but take nothing away. They beat St. Lawrence full strength. They beat Harvard full strength, so they will be an interesting wild card at the ECAC Hockey League Championships next weekend, but couldn't ask for a better game as well. I mean, there were a fair amount of penalties, some weird stuff, and, as you said, Scott Wiley wound up being a prophet, albeit on the wrong end of what he said could be a game decided by a funny bounce. Actually, he was on the right end. He was exactly right what happened. A funny bounce by Tara French, the senior captain. But a great game between both teams and a great series between two teams who have played nip-tuck battles all throughout the duration of their rivalry. Colgate with a 3-2 victory. They get the sweep. On the road, they are on to the ECAC Hockey League semifinals, and Princeton's woes in these 4-5 matchups continue now. 0-8 all-time when they are in the 4-5 series.
Right, and you saw the bounce there at the side of that game, and, things like that happen to you. It's tough to win games, and that's the nature of the sport of hockey sometimes, but, certainly Princeton's been in just about every one of those 8 games as I can recall.
So Colgate 3, Princeton 2. Let's step aside for a quick commercial break. On the other side, let's recap the action. I'll have Dave pick out some stars of the game, and then we'll clear on out of here and set the stage for our next weekend of playoff action, which will be out west in Minneapolis. You're listening to the coverage of the 2007 playoffs on USCHO.com. Back in just a moment. Next weekend, the USCHO Game of the Week heads to Minneapolis, site of the 2007 WCHA Championships. Catch the first semifinal Saturday, March 3rd at 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Central. Then catch the second semifinal at 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central. And on Sunday, March 4th at 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Central, it's the 2007 WCHA Championship game. Don't miss a minute of the WCHA Championships on USCHO.com. Welcome back to Hobie Baker Rink. Brian Schultz, Dave DeReamer on hand. USCHO Game of the Week. The aftermath of a dramatic playoff series between Colgate and Princeton. The Raiders coming up with a sweep on the road by a count of 3-2 Raiders improving to 17, 14, and 2 on the season. Princeton finishes their year at 16, 12, and 3. Recapping the scoring for you. In the opening period of play, it was Princeton getting on the board first, and a great story mentioned Mary Kate Oakley was injured against Colgate last Friday night, taken off the ice on a stretcher after the game was over. Came back in a big-time way in Game 2 tonight. Scored the first of her 2 goals at 14:23. Her 14th of the season came on a rebound of a Kim Pierce drive off a draw-in by Oakley, who was outstanding in the circle all night long. And